I've only ever been on speaking terms with Mahler. I haven't spoken directly to Fringy or Wolf. I don't have a way of contacting Wolf, and I very much think that maybe Fringy thinks that I should be the first one to like try to get into them, but the problem is I tried to pass a message on to him through Mahler, and I haven't gotten anything back at all, even through proxy. So
I wonder why.
I think you're laying it on a bit thick there.
No,
surely it's not that. Surely it's not that big.
See, when I talked to Jack about this, I almost couldn't contain myself. I almost spilled all of the beans about what's happened with Southpaw recently, because I've never seen such self-destructive behavior. I've never seen so many lies, so much dishonesty, so much needless self-inflicted drama. I mean, it really is like unbelievable, and it's hard to know exactly where to begin, because okay, here's the problem with Southpaw drama and his associates. It is like really autistic, where there's a few different factions involved. There's like Southpaw, then there's SK and his friends, and then there's a third one that came together recently called League Entertainment. They started their own channel. I didn't tell you about this, Fungus.
This is all so cringe.
It is.
Just all the different factions are so cringe. But the thing, the worst of it all is that we're also cringe because we're commentating. We're commentating on the entire thing. So we are in fact cringe.
Well, no, we're making fun of it. It's different. We're not actually like, we don't have a stake in this game. We're just.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We are Fungus. You don't understand. We're on the outside, pointing and laughing. Okay.
Ah, right. Yeah.
I'm just here to report the news.
So we're actually the cool ones.
So what we're gonna do right now is an incredibly condensed prelude to this current drama. And I know that there are some people gonna watch this video and think, oh, they're gonna talk about one of the two dogs floating around. These dogs, Fungus. They always have Google. These guys always have Google documents floating around, like trying to expose each other.
It's because they're all losers who think the internet's important.
Yes, and the other problem, which is why we're not gonna cover them at all, like 90% of them are unsubstantiated secondhand accounts. It's nothing. It's gossip. It's TMZ-esque. So it's not even worth talking about. Also, did you even like look through them?
I tried, but then it's a lot of it is just I spoke to Southpaw and he said this.
Like, just to give you guys an idea of just how worthless these Google documents are. Like, one of the point of contentions was that Margus Spixru has transitioned into Sky Spixru, and some other guy dead named this person. Do you know what that is, Fungus?
Yeah. It's because these people are, for the most part, incapable of personal confrontation. So that's why they create these Google Docs. So it's like a public execution.
Yeah.
It's like they put it out there for everybody to see, and just keep the other retards in line.
So one of these two Google Docs made by a guy called Shandy. It was like created a few months ago, and now it's been deleted and entirely retracted. And Southpaw and Shady are on good terms. So I don't know what the fuck happened there. But it's not important to what we're talking about today. We're gonna discuss... This is a nice segue, Fungus. You're gonna love this. We're gonna discuss Terriers drama. Alright, so I've created like such a neat little... This is not a Google document, by the way. So I'm not a hypocrite. Alright, this is a PDF.
Oh no.
So shut up.
Oh no.
It's a nice little PDF of chronological screenshots.
We've become the cringe fries.
Alright, so all the way back in 2019, alright, Southpaw started lobbying for the show called Terriers. You all should be watching Terriers, introducing as many people as I have to Terriers is the achievement I'm most proud of by far.
That sounds a lot.
Which is, that's kind of...
Aim for the stars, you know as they say.
Fungus, this is one of many self-reports we're gonna be covering today. So we got a message from the 19th of June 2021 from Southpaw on Twitter. In addition to the Terriers Watch Parties and live-streamed breakdown, there will be a full-length video analysis coming to my channel as well. There was never any live stream breakdown from Southpaw, and there was never any like full-length video analysis. And it's been almost a year and a half since this message. And again, I'm going to be talking about this as the public saw it. So we're not going to discuss any of the private details yet. But it's just to give you guys who's listening to the podcast an idea of how confusing the drama is. On August of 29th, on the Moolah channel, EFAB 151, it's Mauler and Frinny, they've seen Terriers and they're talking about it. Terriers, the TV show. And they're calling it terrible. And they're not mentioning Southpaw's name at all. They're not even alluding to it. They're not talking about any watch party. And then they're talking about the show again on the Super Chat Catch-Up 150 on the 2nd of September. Strangely enough, on August 29th, the same day that the EFAB 151 came out on the Moolah channel, Southpaw just left the EFAB server. So Southpaw's left on the 29th of August. Mm-hmm. A few days later, he comes out with a thread.
Oh my god.
It's well, obviously.
He's threatening somebody's life.
He's threatening Mauler's life. He's gonna stab him.
He really didn't take the dissing of the Terrier as well.
I'm willing to go public with it now, and that sounds extremely serious when he says it like that.
Oh my god!
But it's
a bomb threat.
Yeah, it might as well be.
Oh my god!
Haven't had time to mull things over after an episode of self-doubt. Okay, I disagree with a staggering vast majority of their criticisms of Terriers. If we had to read out like all the Twitter threads in their entirety, we'd be here all day. I'm not gonna do that. Do not harass them. Do not pester them. And he's referring to Mauler, Rax, and Fernie. I've come back around to believing that Terriers is still fucking fantastically written, and I still plan on making a video going into exhaustive detail as to why one day, and he never did. At least not yet. Ridicule me all you want for it. I can guarantee you that I don't give a fuck. The closest comment we have from Mauler calling out Southpaw is this one here, where he says, I reckon that we substantiated it well, and he's talking about like his responses to criticisms he's received of the Terriers takes. Especially when being told this hasn't been thought about by either of the two people watching with us who sang the show's praises. And like these messages we've shown you here, that's literally, and I'm not kidding here, that's the extent of Mauler, Frinny, and Rex talking about Southpaw. And just to stir the pot a little bit, every once in a while, Southpaw's associates come in and say something like Gatlin Golduck right here. He says, Southpaw left the server. I know why he did so as well. Now, I can't speak for him, and I won't since I respect his privacy.
Oh my
and
god.
Whatever he does in the future is up to him. All I say is that debate, and he's talking about the Civil War debate, all I'll say is that debate doesn't seem likely to happen based on what I know. Then there's another comment from another guy, Tennebeast Rising, the same month. I had a conversation with Southpaw last night.
Oh my god.
All I can share with you...
It's like having an audience with the Pope.
Yeah, it really is like serious. All I can share with you is that Terriers is not what made Southpaw, quote unquote, leave.
I mean, why are there quote unquote? Why are there quotes around the word "leave"? He did leave.
Yeah, there's no quotes about it. But that's not even the best part, Fungus. It's what he says next. He says, "All I can say is, don't meet your heroes." What? Don't meet your heroes.
First of all, who the fuck in that situation is anybody's hero?
Did Southpaw get fucking raped by Mauler? Somebody asks like, "Oh, why did Southpaw leave again?" This guy called Mass-Produced Grunt. Then SK answers, it was more so in regards to the EFAB community. It's like, oh, okay. Oh. I thought it had something to do with Mauler and Rex and Frinny.
Like, so don't meet your heroes. Does that mean that the EFAB community was Southpaw's hero?
On the 31st of March, 2022, out of nowhere, and he posted this on the Mauler subreddit for some reason. 7.
Exactly, because he wants attention as much as he says he doesn't. He desperately wants attention.
Yeah. 7 absolutely horrible months of absurd misunderstandings and confusion have been brought to a swift end today. There's a handful of individuals who are aware of certain... a handful? More like half the server.
He sounds like Chancellor Palpatine in the fucking Star Wars prequels. Yeah, just 7 absolutely horrible months. Like
Jesus.
Like, how horrible were these months, honestly? Like, how bad was it? How could it really be so terrible when nobody really cares about you in the first place? He's not even being abused. He's not even like having threatening messages sent to him. He's not being doxxed. He's not being swatted. All he needs to do is just... He doesn't even need to leave the internet. He can just stop going on Twitter, stop going to the EFAP Discord, and stop going on to the EFAP subreddit. Attention, everybody. Attention. Attention. I have resolved a personal and private matter which I will not be discussing with any of you. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.
This is all water under the bridge. It's all resolved. At least we know that. Resolved. At least we know that whatever this is, it's resolved. So thank God.
That is the end.
I'm so happy this problem, I have no idea what is resolved. I'm so happy.
This is the end of the episode.
I want to thank everyone who supported me during this difficult time.
Oh my God. I'm surprised, given Southpaw's history, that he is actually friends with somebody who is biracial.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can only assume that Southpaw doesn't actually know about SK's, as Southpaw would put it, impurity. I wouldn't put it that way, but Southpaw, I can imagine, would.
Yeah, Southpaw would say something like, "We need to do a little ethnic cleansing." If you ever found out about SK's background. This cleansing has been resolved.
It is resolved. We have purified SK.
Yeah, just so you know, Thumbcast has been cancelled. SK's podcast. All of the replies on Reddit to this post, like a third of them are saying, "What the fuck happened?" Like they have no idea. Like seriously, they have no idea. If you scroll down to the comments,
I see it. That's the top comment. Is what happened.
What exactly happened? 51 upvotes. Southpaw is a spurg is what happened.
Sorry, God, the absolute, like, he titles it peace. The absolute fucking dweeb. He titles it peace.
Peace like, in the Middle East.
I have achieved peace, and like this man is standing there like Donald Trump achieving a diplomatic resolution to the fucking Korean conflict. After 7 terrible months.
Dude, this is Southpaw like stepping over to the North Korean border. This is this moment.
It was like there's a picture of Southpaw and Boulder shaking hands as they cross the Discord barrier.
Sums up 90% of Southpaw related news. Don't waste your time. 48 upvotes. It seems like people are really getting tired of Southpaw shit at this point.
Yeah, he uses the community to spitball his hot takes and runs with whatever gets people going the most. He's a teenage girl. Don't workshop his Drama Factory content for him. Last Dragoon, I applaud you.
Alright, so I guess that was the end of it. So that was a good podcast. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Or...
Oh, I actually thought it was the end then. I was...
You really thought it was the end?
Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of dumb.
Fungus, you've had a little too much to drink. This is the ultimate coverage. God. This is what's gonna destroy Southpaw's mood for the rest of the week.
His mood?
Yeah.
He's not gonna be happy. He's gonna be a bit upset.
And that's gonna be great for me.
Fries, are you saying you have a negative motive? Are you saying you have a motive for that?
Yes. I want to see him frown. This wasn't the end of Fungus, okay? Because a few months later, on the Mall subreddit again, somebody asked, whatever happened to Southpaw, Chaseface, and Moriarty?
I always thought Moriarty sounded bold.
Well, Moriarty's pretty inoffensive.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
I don't really have anything against that guy. He's off the hook. Whatever happened to Southpaw, Chaseface, and Moriarty? And then Southpaw comes in with this fucking chunker of a response. This one that it covers, like in this document that I've created for Fungus, it covers like pages. Seriously, it covers 3 pages.
This is 3 pages. This is 3 entire pages.
Yeah, we're not gonna go for the entire thing because that would be insanity.
We don't have the fucking time.
But I just want to go through the beginning so you can see why this is so strange. So Southpaw starts talking about, oh, I'm still around, frequently tweeting because it's piss easy compared to what it takes to draft a full-blown analysis video. Cooking up a video on Civil War at the moment. It's been in the work for like 15 months.
Jesus,
Mola
15 months.
and I still keep in touch on jovial terms. That's good to hear. I prefer to distance myself from this community and pretty much everyone else in this circle. But and then it begins. So we're not going to go into what Southpaw says in this post. But as you can see, he just starts sharing details about all of the drama that happened a few months ago, even though it was resolved. Like, can you believe this? But there's one detail I want to share, and I want to see if I can find it right here. Once SK realized this, he sent multiple lengthy messages to Mahler, complete with the messages I'd shared with him, very clearly pointing out critical ways in which my words were misinterpreted. And by misinterpreted, quote-unquote, I mean they were literally paraphrased into sentences with a totally different meaning, and a much more malicious one that was intended. Fungus, did you catch that? Did you catch how he slipped malicious into that sentence?
Yeah.
Almost as if he's trying to shit stir a little more.
The insane narrative that he's building in this simple response with, hey, what happened to Southpaw? And he could honestly have just replied with the first paragraph, like, I'm still around. Just saying what he's doing.
Yeah. It's like a normal response.
Yeah. More on I still keep in touch, but I prefer to distance myself from this community and pretty much everybody else in his circle.
Which is completely fair.
That answers the fucking question. Everything else is just total superfluous bullshit that's trying to build and reinforce the narrative that he has been unfairly maligned by Mauler, by Mauler, and by Fringy, and by the community a lot.
Dare I say it's a complete non sequitur. It has nothing to do with what he was asking about. But that's not even Fungus. And I showed you this when it happened, like when this post came out. I remember showing you this because I just couldn't believe it. Remember how like this poster asked what happened to the Southpaw and Chaseface?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of this post, Chaseface gets like a footnote. As for Chaseface, he's a liar, a narcissist, an animal abuser, and a groomer who deliberately seeks out minors to seduce. There's publicly available evidence to sift through. I mean, Fungus, he has like 3 different Google documents about him.
You should have more.
Yeah, you should have like 50. He should have more because Southpaw says right here. There's no question in my mind, because even the heavily sanitized version of events I got from Chaseface directly made my skin crawl. Okay, so you got some information about potential grooming, or not potential, confirmed grooming from Chaseface directly. Why don't you talk about that then?
Southpaw is mentioning specifically he has knowledge of Chaseface's nonstery.
Yeah, which he should definitely. I mean, anything that you've talked about before, like Chaseface is 100 times more important. This could stop like an actual criminal.
Yeah.
Right?
So, no, I'll go. So I'll say this: Chaseface is just a criminal, and he's just got away with it because people who he has, like, Southpaw has said he has had his sanitized versions of the events, and it still made his skin crawl. So Southpaw has knowledge of the events, and he has not gone to anybody with it. He hasn't gone public with it. He hasn't gone to the police with it. So Southpaw is just, in effect, he's in effect just allowing a known pedophile, a known sex offender, to continue roaming free. So, at what point is there culpability?
You just gotta set your priorities straight, you know? Like the fact you're so obsessed with internet drama surrounding you, but this completely goes over your head.
This does like affect people in real life, not on Twitter. Southpaw and SK have both been on a podcast several times and interacted with several times Chaseface.
Yeah,
And this was, and it wasn't like they were interacting with him before all these accusations came out, because we knew about all of these accusations about Chaseface. We had all of the same documentation that is out there now when they were interacting with each other, and this was publicly available documentation.
Yes. Remember, Chaseface still has a YouTube channel that is technically still active. I'm just saying, if you want to leave a comment on his channel about him being a groomer, you can do that. I'm not technically telling you anything, but you can do that.
And I'm just saying as well, I'm not saying you should, but if you do know where he lives, you could theoretically wait outside of his house and kill him. You could do that.
Doesn't mean you should.
No, it doesn't mean I'd advocate it. I'm not advocating it, but I'm saying you could wait in a dark portion of his yard, wait for him to get out, and then hit him across the back of the head with a wrench, and then steal his wallet so it looks like a mugging gone wrong. But I'm not saying you should. But I'm saying you could do that, and I'm saying you could also watch out for cameras and cover your face so the police can't track you. But I'm not saying that you should, and also leave your phone in your house so nobody can track you. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm saying you could theoretically.
There's a little bit of a detour here. So SK thought that he had like this big win against Mauler in private DMs, so he leaked them. And I will say, I do love the headline. I talked with Mauler, gave him a chance to explain himself so I could find some positive way to interpret everything. He made it 10 times worse. Now that is eye-catching. You want to know what the heck these DMs say. So some stuff has been going around lately. You had conversations with Neurotic and Heel vs. Babyface about their questionable positions on LGBT stuff and race stuff. You don't condone these remarks, not making accusations here, but explain yourself, Mauler. And then Mauler replies, and then SK starts posting like suicide statistics about trans people. Which what the fuck are you doing? What are you trying? I mean, it really does read like you're trying to guilt trip Mauler. You're associated with these people who say these things about trans people, which leads to suicide. We don't even have to watch this clip from their stream. It doesn't matter because it's guilt by association. Yeah. Mauler hasn't said he's agreed with anything that they've said about trans people. He's just there in the call listening. And we know, pretty much everybody knows that Mauler is extremely apolitical. He's very neutral. He never discusses anything like related to politics on his podcast. So why the fuck is SK asking about this?
When will SK come out and explain why he's pro pedophilia? If he's pro pedophilia, because since he's willingly associated with Chaseface.
So Mauler has a perfectly valid response to what SK is like asking him about over DMs. He's like, I don't do friendship audits. I used to have some engagement in it, but I ended up hitting dead ends. So yeah, I don't do it anymore. And then SK does a complete non sequitur, because he just asks him, "Is that why you cut ties with Southpaw?"
Okay, so this is all SK is. He's just a drama. He's just a creature of drama. That's all he is. He is absolutely not worth talking. Like if for whatever reason, Waller or anybody in EFAP watch this,
they don't. They won't. Can you
if
imagine?
They do, I could. If they do, I want to remind Rex that I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna fight him. But just don't respond to SK about anything. He's not worth any attempt.
Yeah, I will say Mauler is being retarded here by even like
just ignore him.
Responding in good faith.
He's absolutely meaningless to anything in the world. Just don't. There's no reason to speak to this fucking loser.
Yeah, it's not like your friend. It's not like Mauler and SK are friends.
What is it? I'm happy to chat media with you here and there, but this is way too personal at this point, and I'm not looking to upset you, but we just don't have that kind of relationship.
That is an airtight response. So SK really couldn't have anything to say to that.
Mauler should not have said anything beyond that. He's trying to purity test Mauler. he's trying to test him. Where he's like, well, Southpaw isn't as bad as these transphobes. So why aren't you? Why did you reject Southpaw's friendship? This is how leftists think, where everything is political. So everything is political to SK. There's nothing that exists outside of the political paradigm. So
Yeah.
for Mauler to be friends with Babyface and Neurotic and not Southpaw, it's political. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with the fact that Southpaw is just an insufferable shit.
It's the kind of purity test that can never be won. That can never be satisfied.
Which is why you just don't respond to people like SK. Just ignore them. What you should do instead, Mauler, is speak to us.
Yeah, come on our podcast.
Come on our show. Speak to us, or I'll come to your house.
I like how it's our show now. It's Fungus and Fries.
Oh, well, if it's not our show, I'm just gonna leave.
Well, I don't pay you.
I don't want to be associated with it.
And fuck these DMs. We don't want to talk about them. We're just establishing them for context. All right. There is this nobody on Twitter called Something Guy 2022 who started to argue with SK about these DMs, and he brings up like the exact same point that we just did, which is this is guilt by association, so it's a bad argument, which is completely valid.
SK is in fact guilty of his own. Is in fact guilty under his own accusations. So he's guilty of being associated with a pedophile.
Yeah, which Something Guy 2022 doesn't make the exact same argument as you, but he makes a similar argument. The only flaw is that he takes like some of the evidence from one of the dogs we mentioned at the beginning. Shandy's dog.
Shandy's dishonest dog.
Yeah, and that's what the SK starts talking about here. You're referring to Shandy's dishonest document, I see.
So he's just a total hypocrite that is trying to, who's just avoiding the point. But Something Guy 2022, you're all right.
So this is where it gets fun, Fungus. Okay. This is like.
So now's when it gets fun.
This is like the first climax of our story. There's like multiple climaxes. It's so exciting. Okay.
Oh my god. Multiple climaxes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. So Something Guy 2022 says all of this drama because Mauler didn't like a TV show. This set Southpaw off, so he made a long ass Twitter thread. A grand total of 22 tweets where he just starts talking about like everything. Everything related to this drama. Like, look at this.
What I love is that Southpaw, in his attempt to disprove this Something Guy's point, ends up proving exactly his point, which is there's no surprise that all of this is because Mauler didn't like a TV show he liked, even if he believed their criticism was a little weak. No surprise that Mauler stepped away from him. And then Southpaw goes on to prove exactly why nobody should be friends with him.
The watch party and discussions afterwards were a profoundly unpleasant experience, and in the interest of avoiding conflict, I aborted watching the rest of the show with them. That's really all you need to take away from, like, 75% of this thread. Until you get to the end.
Profoundly unpleasant.
I mean, those are pretty harsh words, but whatever.
That's profoundly unpleasant. That is one hell of an accusation.
Against your friends,
yeah.
By the way.
I would classify something as profoundly unpleasant as probably like, I don't know, being forced to watch somebody be tortured. I don't know, just like going through an area in Ukraine that's been bombed by the Russians.
Yeah, Ukraine's got nothing on this, okay?
Yeah, profoundly unpleasant is like profoundly so. It was so unpleasant for the Southpaw. It impacted his very personality to his deepest core. So even in his like best coping, he is revealing his emotional attachment to the show, and how he is his criticisms of it, and his the way that he sees the show is totally compromised by this emotion that he feels towards it. I wouldn't have a large emotional impact. It'd be like, oh well, you're just stupid and wrong for not liking this amazing TV show, but oh well, we can still be friends.
I am tired of having to explain myself in private over and over, and in public, but whatever, you didn't mention that. I've told SK that whatever he wishes to publicize about what happened, he can publicize it. If it gives context that helps dismantle this narrative about me that the EFAP community eagerly took and ran with, and seems to continue to run with, even after Mauler himself has had to concede that it didn't break things up. So again, he's referring to something that we don't have context for yet, so it's really confusing.
It doesn't make sense when he says, how many times do I have to keep explaining myself? But then he's obviously claims to be annoyed or irritated by the fact that this drama keeps getting brought up. But then he also says that SK has my full permission to post whatever he wants. So yeah. He's encouraged and given consent to SK to continue the drama. And then he's turning around and saying, why do people keep bringing up the drama?
It is, dare I say, it's oxymoronic.
Dare I say profound?
Downright paradoxical. So there's going to be a tell-all video now from SK. Ooh. We were hoping it was never going to happen. It was never going to be necessary. But we can only take 100% of the flag over what happened from the community and all the lies and the slander for so long. What?
Jesus. It's honestly, it sounds like medieval politics.
Yeah, but okay, the thing is, like 99% of the discussion was not lies and slander. It was pure speculation. Or it was people mocking him for leaving the server over Terriers. Even people were saying it was probably about Terriers, or they were saying, "Oh, it's definitely about Terriers."
This is what happens, Southpaw, when you don't establish your own narrative. If you'd have just said, it's not to do with Terriers, it's to do with other personal details that I don't really want to get into,"
which is fine.
It's just Mauler and I are no longer friends, and then you move on. But you can constantly say, well, I'm not going to talk about it.
But I will talk about it. But then more stuff got leaked a few days later. This is where I really lost my mind, okay?
You did. He was sending me DMs.
Yeah, I was saying like huge news. I've never seen anything like this. This is unbelievable. Look at this. On the 19th of October, SK, not Southpaw, SK posts a clip from a private confrontation between Southpaw and Wolf. Yes, I have receipts. Here's video proof of Wolf gaslighting Southpaw into thinking he called the EFAP hosts rape apologists.
Is this the famous false planting of false memory?
Yeah, he planted a false memory. I love that quote, by the way. What did you say about it? That he was psionic or something?
Yeah, so we all know that Wolf is famous for his psionic powers.
Then a few days later, a third party leaks the entirety of the Southpaw and Wolf confrontation, because as of the 19th, there's only been clips of it. The full thing hasn't been posted, but now a third party that isn't Southpaw or SK is just leaking the whole thing because it's been shared around so much. And then Southpaw, in return, leaked the entirety of the Terriers Watchparty that he had with Mauler, Frinny, and Evan Monroe. To be fair, if Southpaw wasn't going to publicize it, somebody else would, because there's probably a lot of people who have this Google Drive video already, like the link to it. I do love when Southpaw says, "Oh, I'm just tired of being backstabbed, man." Coming from you?
That's why I recorded a private conversation between me and somebody who thought he was my friend,
and then shared it with everybody.
and then shared it with somebody else. So this is what makes me laugh about Southpaw, is that he is so personally weak that he can't even have a discussion with somebody without recording it and then sending it across to all of his little minions to be like, oh, look at this. What should I say for next time? He can't stand on his own two legs.
No.
Argumentatively. He's using them not just as a shield, but as a sword as well. He's trying to use them as... He's trying to basically crowdsource his own confidence, almost.
Mm-hmm.
He can't argue with Wolf. I mean, it's not as if he's like arguing against, Ben Shapiro. It's not as if this is an argument about an important thing. I haven't seen the video, but you have. I imagine it's not exactly it's not a conversation or an argument that requires a lot of sources. It's not exactly a technical argument. It's more of a moral and emotional argument.
Well, Southpaw said that it was just a simple misunderstanding, so it shouldn't take that much time to clarify for both parties.
Yeah, so it's weird that you need to have all your little minions helping you out in what is just supposedly a misunderstanding or just a simple conversation between just two people.
Yeah.
Why does he need a team of people to help him with the conversation?
But we've made it, Fungus. This was the prelude. It's over, okay? This was the context, and we've left so much out, but now you have like the picture, okay? Now you have a general idea of what was going on. It's time for timestamps of the Terriers recording. You don't want to watch it?
Oh, okay. Well, okay, yeah. We're watching timestamps. I thought we were going through the whole bloody thing.
The whole Fungus. It's 3
I
hours.
was about to cry and then kill you and then cry.
You really like this show.
Yeah,
I've noticed that on Twitter.
We adore the show. It's funny. What ended up happening was it all started with Spectacular Spider-Man.
I just want to preface that Spectacular Spider-Man is a children's cartoon.
Would say it's like a solid 7 overall for the season. Has some tisms here and there, as can be expected for cape shit, but then we got to season 2.
He says cape shit. He says that there's some tisms that can be explained because it's cape shit, and not because it's a literal children's TV show. He's a no-life loser.
Oh, Jesus, that was a loud motorcycle.
It took us, what, a month, 2 months to get to season 2, and I was excited to start it, and episode 1 was not good. And then we got to episode 2, and it was not good. And then episode 3, and it was not good. And then Evan told me that episode 4 was going to be even worse than the ones that we'd seen. So I was just kind of like a bit staggered by how bad it had been. And so I'm like, Evan, I would like to watch something good for now.
I think it was the electro-melting tires with his electricity that...
Now that's where I draw the line.
Like, holy crap.
I draw the line where electricity melts rubber in a kid's TV show. If a current is strong enough, it can sort of break down. It can sort of push itself through rubber to create a circuit, and the byproduct of that would be heat. So the rubber would burn and then melt.
Yes.
So if a current was high enough, then you could melt. So it could cause enough heat to melt or burn rubber.
But to your point, like making this kind of argument about a cartoon is retarded.
I think I remember you talking about Terriers a couple of times before we watched it. Like you'd mentioned it before, and then you're like, "Hey, you want to watch it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, you said you'd rewatched it before. Like, did
this is
like myself and everybody.
This is
else
something weird.
Show you just
where
it was. Like, did you not realize just how good? Because you talk about this all.
What
the
he's
time.
doing, he's like. It sounds like what he's doing
Actually,
is just introducing a show that he likes to his friends.
Besides my sister, because
Yeah.
my sister and I love this
And
show,
he has to preface it, and he has to like.
we love the
He has to
characters,
be.
we love the dialogue.
He has to
I
sell
think
it
it's very
basically.
quotable
So
and
it's
enjoyable.
is this like
I never
normal for these
looked
people
at it like a serious
to have to?
critical eye looking for any possible
to critically analyze like a show that a friend recommends.
Yeah, couldn't you just
So
say
that-
we're watching Terriers today?
Like there is a
Yeah, because like when we do movie nights,
episode 10.
like when we watched Master and Commander, I didn't have to like, oh, this is such an internally consistent show.
Yeah, you don't have to go on a 17-minute diatribe about how much you love it.
I mean, I could, but I didn't.
Doesn't mean you should.
Really trying to find anything to criticize an episode.
Also,
So
dude,
is this just a casual watch, or is this with the intention of?
this is with the intention of critical analysis.
Right. Okay. Let's go back.
Contrivance at the very beginning of episode 10, and there's like maybe a couple like very little things that.
There's a couple of very little things. Sappho,
I just
a
find
couple
it-
of
I
very
find it
small
so-
things.
I find it so funny that he's trying to lay the groundworks for an event that happens at episode 10
That's a good
in the
point.
first 2 minutes of a show.
Before you've even seen a second.
Also, just want to point out that Mauler has not said a single word yet.
No.
During this entire conversation, Mauler hasn't asked a single question. He hasn't made a single comment.
You can find here and there, but it was funny because when we were watching it with like Me Repository and Thought Theater and the rest of those guys, Thought Theater was really trying to find anything to criticize.
Then he sucks.
in every single time. Like if he thought that he had found some sort of a plot gap or an error in character's judgment, the show would find a way to account for it. And the same sort of experience was found with Wolf as well. Like there were times where, as I was watching through the show with Wolf, he kind of questioned a certain decision in episode 6, I think, and
Keeps going.
then towards the end of the episode, the character actually explained why they did something that you might find questionable.
Episode 8.
And
Oh, sorry,
so
6.
just
And they're
seeing
not.
how
And
well this show holds up as
they
a
haven't even
show,
started
so
episode
I'm
1 yet.
I'm
Like,
constantly
goddamn.
telling people to
This
watch
show must be
the
like one of the best ever.
because this isn't something like Breaking Bad where it's super popular and everyone tells you how good it is. It's like I'm one of the only guys with a platform that's like.
I wonder why.
You need to watch Terriers. You need to actually watch the show and check it out.
You know what?
So that's
I think.
that's
So
basically.
if that's, I guess that's what's like, if you had to give it a number, what do you think the show would?
What do you think?
That's for me.
A 9.
Yeah.
9.
It's a
boy.
show that is very praiseworthy by my book.
Is that like, is mostly 10 out of 10, but like there's one episode that's like a 7 or something, or are we looking at something else?
So the weakest episode I think is an 8. Like if there's a big contrivance in the beginning, but then everything after that.
Fungus, if you were saying this to me, I would be excited as fuck, okay?
You have this contrivance here.
This is some
I
advertisement.
really consider it like an impossibility.
But I wouldn't.
That's happening.
I wouldn't try and like preface something with like a 9 or a 10. I wouldn't try and rank it. It's usually just I like this or I don't like this.
Or this is based. We're gonna watch this.
I can't think of any dialogue that's particularly clunky in the show.
I can't think of any dialogue that's clunky.
Very
Fungus.
snappy,
Remember that?
tells you a lot with.
I'm remembering it.
like,
I'm
just
keeping it in my
subtext.
head.
There's a whole lot of subtext as well when you're just looking at how the characters are looking at each other and reacting to what little is being said.
All right, well, shall we get started then?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, I love
uh,
the response from Fringy Mauler.
The response is just silence for a few
Right,
seconds.
So Southpaw has been talking for 6 minutes about how much he loves this show and how it's 9 out of 10. The highest possible praise that he can give it. He's giving it consistent, lauded
Yeah.
praise. And at the end of it, Mauler doesn't say a word. And Fringy's just like, okay, let's watch it then, I guess. It's you would think that if somebody came to you and said this show is a 9 out of fucking 10, we're gonna watch it. It's so internally consistent and it's so good. If the dialogue is so fucking snappy that you can't this is the best TV show that's ever existed. And Muller and Free do not have a single comment beyond, okay, let's just watch it. Let's just get this out of the way. Let's just watch it. that to me suggests they don't have the highest opinion of Southpaw's opinions. They don't have they don't think the highest of what Southpaw thinks.
Or they just might be in disbelief at this high praise coming from Southpaw of all people.
I mean, I think the problem is that Southpaw really lays it on too thick at the start.
Yeah, he made the classic. Dude, we've all made this mistake at some point in our lives. Like we've hyped something up too much for our friend, and then just disappointed them.
If he just said, "I really like the show, let's watch it," then he wouldn't look so embarrassed now, because he said it's a 9 out of 10. And keep in mind, this is somebody who tries to appear like he is a critical media analyst.
Yes.
And he thinks this show is a 9 out of 10. But disagreeing with his analysis of this show that you don't think is actually very good, because more of he could be totally wrong. That's fine. Maybe they are being everything that Southpaw's accused them of. But Southpaw's response to that makes him seem like he's not very critical. He's not a very good media analyst. If people who attack or people who disagree with him on his opinions, and he just falls apart. Look at the shit that Mauler has had to deal with for his opinions on Star Wars. He's become a pariah in media criticism because of his opinions on Star Wars. So, not to suck that guy's fucking dick, but he's had to actually endure a lot more criticism and a lot more critiquing of himself than Southpaw has.
And also because people have actually seen Star Wars. That's the other thing.
So it's really funny to see Southpaw accuse Mauler of all this shit when Mauler has gone through everything that Southpaw's gone through, but to a far worse degree and with far more bad faith attacks effectively against his character compared to what Southpaw's had to endure.
So that was the introduction by Southpaw. It's pretty much over now. It's just the first 6 minutes. They start the show. They are completely silent for like 10 minutes. Nothing is being said. No observations are being made. We don't have to watch that. We don't have to watch that because we can actually see. Remember that picture I showed you of just the timeline from Premiere Pro?
Yeah.
Alright, so you can see right here. The yellow markers, they signify the beginning and the end of episode 1 and 2 respectively. You can see how there's just like these big valleys where nothing is being said. There's a lot of silence in episode 1, and there's a whole lot more silence in episode 2, especially towards the end, especially towards the second half.
Can we just play a little bit of
the silence?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just play it if you want to. But it is silent, and that doesn't count.
Yeah, the only sound that we really hear is fucking Fringy's phone in the background.
Riveting.
Yeah,
explosive commentary. And it's like that for like 10 minutes. From 6 minutes to 16 minutes, nothing is being said. Not a sound is made.
Since when did you get so jaundiced? Since when did you start using the word jaundiced?
Also, that's jaundice means like that he has yellow skin.
That's right.
So what does that mean? What's it mean?
I don't know. The humor in this show is incredibly innocuous.
It's like it's trying to be Joss Whedon. I just want to say this guy is really like okay with two people just appearing in his car.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
He just doesn't know who these people are, and they appear in his backyard. He's just like, yes, I am that famous celebrity. Yeah. So instead of being like, hey, who the fuck are you? He doesn't even ask them. He seems just like totally at ease with them.
What's your license, baby? We found that by not working with them, we never have to worry about losing. Fair. And so you're looking for Eleanor. Father asked us to out of concern.
So this guy is just totally okay with two unlicensed detectives in his.
Want their license, right?
Yeah. Okay. Springy.
Like if he wants to talk to them about a
Can't be
case.
paying anything.
Notice how Southpaw isn't saying anything? That's gonna be a trend throughout this whole recording. More often you make a criticism, Southpaw remains silent. Almost
Why
as
isn't
if
this-
he's unprepared and he hasn't seen the show.
Leave the dog. Take the canola. What? OBT gave us
Do you like that?
information a few hundred yards down that way, said Eleanor's phone is on.
But did you even register that, Fungus?
I mean, I know it's a Godfather reference. It's not a good one because they don't have cannolis.
Yeah, that's why it's a completely... It's just a reference for the sake of a reference. It doesn't make sense.
Do you know what this strikes me as? This strikes me as the writer of this show. Like, oh, this is like the dialogue I have with my friends.
They find a dead body. And then they just...
Someone shot this guy point blank. Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Does he have ID on him? Which? Check for ID or don't
And then they touch him.
Oh,
What are you doing, man? Fucking murder scene, dude.
fingerprints. Yeah.
And the phone.
How easily do fingerprints get left on clothes?
Very.
Do you hear that, Fungus?
Can get left on clothes.
And he
Wait,
just
hold on.
fucking murder scene, dude.
I missed that.
Fingerprints.
From Southpaw.
Yeah.
How easily do fingerprints get left on clothes?
Very.
I think they can get left on clothes.
And he just touched.
That is the first cope
They
of
touched the
many.
railings too.
Yeah.
So I saw
And
Hank
that's.
rub
Oh my
finger-
god, that's evidence. Ah.
Never saw that. Never happened.
Okay.
You were in a permit-only
Oh,
zone.
that's shit.
What? This happened in.
You can reclaim your vehicle.
What are the fucking odds?
Have a great day.
Oh, getting towed in OB, dude. Like I think that's relatively likely.
That's bad timing,
within
though.
within 10 minutes
there-
of parking?
Yeah.
We are so.
It takes a while to get down to a beach. Like if you're parking on the street.
I'm surprised that the
But-
tow was
well, I
even
guess-
notified and came down in time before they got back.
And
And why did they?
Notice how
miss the sign?
Southpaw just isn't saying anything again?
because there was multiple signs. There was
You know, yeah, that was actually a good point by Mauler. Like,
a couple too.
that tow truck must have been like, must have just been waiting around the corner for an
Yeah.
opportunity to tow somebody.
Okay, so remember how Southpaw was talking about all of my friends have looked through this and we couldn't spot any plot holes? And then there's
Yeah.
this massive one within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This unavoidable one.
Seems that her fingerprints and DNA all over the scene.
Oh god, she knows that.
Questions. Honey, are you rich? Well, then do you speak Spanish? Because in prison or in Colombia, it's about to be your mother tongue.
God, that was a bad line, Fungus.
All right. All right.
you want to criticize it?
Guns.
Oh my god, yeah,
We're
here's a
going to
gun.
shoot them in broad daylight.
Shoot them. Just
Apparently
point
they
at
were.
them.
Like,
No,
But
they were
also,
going-
yeah.
He was threatening him with a gun. That doesn't mean he's going to shoot him with a gun.
Wow. Wow.
Yo!
Wow.
You like
Listen
that?
to his tone. Listen to his tone.
You like how passive aggressive he sounds? He is so
Holy
bitchy!
hell.
God damn, dude.
He was threatening him with a gun. That doesn't mean he's going to shoot him with a gun.
Oh,
He
wow.
was threatening him with a gun, that doesn't mean he was going to shoot him.
Yeah, but the whole point of threatening somebody with something is that they believe you have the intention of doing it. So, if you point a gun at somebody and you're not, and the person doesn't think you're willing to shoot them, then what's the point of pointing the gun at them?
Exactly.
So these people are pointing the gun. So, if he's pointing that gun, what would have happened if our protagonist just ran away? Would they have just put the guns away, or would they have just shot the fuckers?
That's a good point. This is a quote unquote good piece of acting.
Mm.
Wow, Gramps. Congratulations. That's great. I'm really happy for you.
Look at the bright side. You won't have to pay alimony anymore. Thanks for understanding, Hank.
What a fucking loser.
I really liked the acting there.
What acting?
I like how he says that, and there's just complete silence. There's no nod of approval or agreement. So
Honestly,
that was that
honestly,
timestamp.
there was no acting there.
Yeah, there was nothing spectacular about that. There was nothing spectacular Spider-Man about that.
Oh, I saw what you did there. Season 2, my favorite season.
Yeah, the best season, Southpaw.
The best season.
They're done with the episode, they're just discussing it. Southpaw begins to sound frustrated, so just let that play.
Oh.
And day to night, that was like, because it was daytime when they got their car towed, and it was like
checking
dead at night.
He was checking at Britt's place, but would he have been checking it inside the taxi?
Well, no. Well, what I mean is, like, in terms of the passage of time, it was day, then it was like night, and it wasn't sunset. It was night. So that's a few hours. Did it take them a few hours to get home?
And yeah, honestly, like, I'd be like, we're checking his phone, then we're getting the taxi, because what's on
And
the
then,
phone might
right,
determine
yeah.
our next location.
Well, I mean, yeah, because we check it, and then there's a lead. It's like, well, shit, we're not going home to eat dinner. We gotta like keep on this case.
Because everything is super time sensitive. The murder took place recently.
Just seems
Do you like that?
we know
Yeah.
Is that all you have to say? Also, listen to how confident Maul and Frini sound on this show they've only seen once.
It was weird.
Southpaw has seen the show
Didn't give him
multiple
that
times this year, or that year, 2021,
because of the
when this watch party happened.
that would have been
And he sounds so out of his depth going against Mauler,
that middle part where they went.
which is weird.
And that's another
And they
piece of
wouldn't have gone to
information.
Limbus, that Ted guy.
Yeah, they would have gone to the lifeguard tower first, I guess.
And it's super weird that like they know that as well. The cops, they even mention it. Like, it is so easy to piece this case together. Like I said, that these guys could very well be major suspects.
Oh, and especially now.
Because remember,
Notes for
this is
it.
the second payment. They've already been paid. Was it 20,000?
Alright, let's get to the next one.
Which is a fuck ton of money, man.
It's amazing to me how quickly this plot falls apart. With just like very surface level analysis by Friggy and Mauler, where they're just like, well, yeah, check the phone first because it's before going home, because that might push us to another location first. It's like the basics of like if you play LA Noire.
Yeah.
It's like if you played LA Noire, you know shit. Like, that's just what happens. It's like if you play any video game.
There's a lot of during this time, by the way. We won't need to see all of them.
That was a huge property.
Cool.
And the view is
Oh, there's one.
pretty incredible. Well, anyway, I don't know.
And
I like
guess
houses.
the thing is, like, regardless.
And I want to get to the second half because that's far more entertaining of this recording.
Things here that just, I don't know.
Mhm.
Well, do you want to proceed
Press on.
or?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, just to, I mean, I want to gauge about where you guys are standing with the show right now. I mean, we kind of went over all that stuff, but like number-wise, like where are you guys are right now after just that first episode, you think?
I would say that there are like, we got problems in terms of like plotting for sure. And not insubstantial ones either. Usually.
I'm not sure where my head's at right now. I think I need to watch more of it, I guess.
You know, Fungus,
I
pause.
just
Pause,
want
by
to
the way.
say that's probably the kindest thing Mauler has ever said.
I mean, you gotta commend them for trying to be nice. They know that Southpaw's like
Mauler
very
is
emotionally
so-
attached to the show. They don't want to give a
Yeah.
number rating. They don't want to say it's terrible to his face. They just want to
Mauler
proceed
is
with the
so-
recording.
Mauler is being such a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's almost being like too nice. It's almost cute.
Yeah, it's almost cute because he's like, I don't know where my head's at, but you can tell by that silence as him just like contemplating, do I crush Southpaw's emotions in my hand now?
I have your future in the palm of my.
It's and like, you know, props to Freaky as well for just being honest. But like, yeah, there's a lot of problems and they are not small.
Yeah, but he didn't give a number rating. Did you notice that? He was asked, what do you think on a scale of 1 to 10? And he just avoided that question. Because you want to be nice.
It sort of points across, it sort of brings the point across that Southpaw is even more of a child, or more of a petty child now, because the criticism that Mauler and Friggy are coming up with are ones about consistency and just common sense. Like they're not coming up with stuff like, they don't even mention the dialogue or the acting. But they haven't brought up, like, they're not nitpicking here. They're talking about stuff like, so these detectives have taken a bribe. A major suspect just seems to be, like, really okay with having these two strangers in his backyard, even though he's, like, apparently committed a murder. And they're admitting that they're, like, investigating this murder that he's committed. Also, they stole evidence of a crime, like not just a crime, but a murder, and their fingerprints are all over the murder site.
These are all valid points.
Yeah, and these aren't not opinions that Mulder and Free are having about like, oh well, I don't like this acting, I prefer this acting, or they should have substantiated this point or that point. It's criticisms to the most foundational, the most basic degree of. Wait, why did they just steal evidence from a crime scene?
I understand you guys are not happy with the show right now, but let's try to factor in. I think that you've got Hank and Britt who are admittedly shady. Yes, they are unlicensed private.
Did you hear that as well?
The what?
From Friggy. Listen to Friggy.
I understand you guys are not happy with the show right now, but let's try to factor in. I think that you got Hank and Britt.
That just incredulous scoff from Friggy.
And
that is how you would describe it, a scoff.
And because they mentioned at this point that that Tony has not been answering his calls, because Tony is Lindis' son's golf coach. So if that's the case, and we know that Tony was killed by the two goons that assaulted Hank.
The two goons.
Goons. I figure it's those two goons in particular.
Sorry, I'm getting lost. So the guy was killed.
Alright, so they discussed for a long time.
The goons.
No. So the guy that was killed.
Go to.
Okay, so I just want to point out as well. Free is utterly confused by Southpaw's recollection of the events, and they have literally just watched this TV show. How can the show be good when the person who has just watched it is getting confused by a recollection of the events by somebody who has seen the show and can put the show into a higher context, supposedly, than the person who has just watched it?
I don't know if this is the first time that they've killed someone. I don't know if mainly they just.
There's a lot of I don't knows during this conversation from Southpaw.
Site that they visit Lindis at the end. I don't know what their histories are. I just have to assume that they're inexperienced with this kind of stuff. They aren't specifically hitmen. They have guns, yes, but I don't know what they.
Oh my god.
What their histories are, what their backgrounds are like.
I mean, is it relevant?
I assume they're stupid. Otherwise, there's a big flaw here. In terms of just cause and effect. We have to assume that they made basically all of the worst decisions possible. I'm not sure how they could have done a worse job, actually, in terms of if this was their objective.
Are you gonna say anything, Southpaw? Come on.
Go there and kill the guy. That's possible. That's like you fucked up many times over now, and you left the murder weapon there too.
Say something.
Because you
He
could
did.
have got information.
He
From
said
him,
no.
which leads to the phone.
Doesn't
You
count.
could
Yeah.
have searched him, which leads to the
Oh,
phone.
it does.
You could even have.
God,
kidnapped
it's
him, which leads to
infuriating.
the phone. But you killed him.
So I just want to point out as well, if anybody's annoyed at the missing context of the show, we're not trying to analyze the show.
No, this is not a
We just-
review of the show at all. I don't care about
we-
terriers. I don't want to watch terriers. I'd rather watch
we-
2 terriers fucking on my bed than actually watch the show. Okay? I don't care.
Oh my god! Oh my
And I
God.
mean that sincerely.
I thought I was supposed to be the extremist. I
I
thought
thought-
that's why you brought me here. Oh my
And I
God.
thought I was the furry.
What we're doing, we're just basically just making fun of Southpaw.
We're just pointing out
Southpaw's
Southpaw's inane behavior.
his inability to defend his show, his favorite show, on a show that he said was a 9 out of 10 at a critical level. So to quote Mauler, at an objective level.
Yes,
He's-
I
he's
expect
seemingly
better.
But you killed him, and then you dropped the weapon.
Again, any number of things could have led to Tony getting killed. If he reaches for the gun and they end up shooting him on accident, it's like, I mean, yeah, that's
Which leads to the phone.
Wait, what do you mean?
They kill him, they get the phone.
If they don't have gloves on at the time, then again, there's the issue with the fingerprints that you guys criticized Hank and Britt for.
Yes, but we saw Hank and Britt leave their fingerprints on the crime scene. We don't know whether they wore or didn't wear gloves when they killed this guy.
Not to mention, it's not like you need latex. Like, wouldn't a shirt work? Like, if you.
Oh, Et2, Evan.
You've betrayed me, Evan.
Et2, Evan.
But Evan has not said anything for like 40 minutes. It's like his first input.
Just literally wrap your
Well,
shirt
it's
with your
funny you
hand
say
in
that,
your
right?
crap.
Because Hank used, I saw, he used his shirt to rub the fingerprints off the doorknob.
Yeah.
But he didn't use them to do anything in terms of the body or on the railing when they walked up to get into the lighthouse box.
Yeah, the
So it's
writers
like-
just failed to account for that.
Haha, you admit defeat at last.
Uh-oh,
I actually had that.
uh-oh.
Actually, Fungus, I had that in my notes. Southpaw finally admits defeat. It's like the first time he concedes anything. That bluntly.
That just means that obviously the hitman could have done the same thing theoretically, and they would have been able to get the phone, like literally using their jacket to grab the phone or whatever. In the scenario, that they're unable to get it without violence.
And if they get the
It is an autistic
Also-
tick.
Also, what they could do as well is, sorry to analyze the show, they could just take the guy's clothes off him. They could just, if they have to pat him down and reach into his clothes and grab the phone, and they're like, ah shit, we don't have gloves. They could just take all of his clothes off.
You know what I have to say to that?
What?
Hmm?
Well, I mean, on that note, should we proceed on to episode 2?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just look at Southpaw, just like, yeah, let's move on.
4 minutes and 55 seconds, right?
No, I've been imposed upon, but never deposed. I posed once for a photo, but not, for money.
You'll be answering questions under oath. Understand?
I suppose I do.
Also, no defendant's counsel is allowed to ask you questions too, if he so chooses.
Fantastic haircut, by the way. Do we go to the same guy?
Okay, why don't we proceed?
This is such a annoying attempt at smart humor. They're trying to show like the character's flippant disregard for the authority of the court.
And look at that stare.
That is a stare of a man who's gonna eat your fucking intestines.
That is a disheveled haircut, if I do say so myself.
It's not a disheveled haircut. That's just a man who's balding. I should know.
Oh, sad face.
Oh.
Fungus is balding.
I have very long hair, but I got like a really pronounced widow's peak. I look like Hugo Weaving in the Matrix.
And that's why I covered with a Burger King hat. And the mask.
Yeah.
So people don't have to see my face.
My hideous widow's peak that goes all the way back to the back of my neck.
I do solemnly swear that the testimony I'm about to give before this court
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Awkward.
Anything wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. I didn't know you guys kept the part about God. Could you read that back to me again?
You and Mr. Pollock are private detectives?
Well, on our tax returns, it says we sell seashells by the seashore, but we moonlight a bit.
Mr. Lindis
So he's just admitted under oath that he lies on his tax forms.
Well, no, he says we
And
sell
how much did Mr. Lindis
seashells
pay
by
you
the
for the
seashore.
cell
He's
phone with the
joking.
sex tape on it?
$30,000.
He's under oath
Must have really,
for
really
testimony
wanted
for a
back
criminal
enough to
investigation.
kill someone, I guess.
This is the check that he paid you with?
So
I'm
pause.
assuming that's why the friend there just
Any idea?
So that, like spam we just watched, minus Molly's little comment at the end. And you probably remember this. That was posted by SK on his Twitter.
Yeah.
This was like before this entire recording was posted by Southpaw, by the way. I don't remember if it was a repost because checking SK's Twitter is cancer. He posts like 100 times a day. He has like 18,000 tweets.
SK just needs to get a job. That's what he needs to do. He just needs to get a job, and that it will. And he'll find that he doesn't have time to be upset on the internet so often.
Yeah,
he just needs to get a professional career going.
So
it's so much more satisfying.
Yes, but remember that was posted by SK. So that's their trump card when it comes to these are like the bad, bizarre criticisms that Frinny and Mulder make during the Terriers Watchparty. But what was wrong with that exactly? Like, isn't Frinny correct? I actually, I mean, me made this point. I genuinely do not get like this criticism.
Because the defendant's lawyer, which I'm assuming is the bad guy's lawyer, is there. He's just made that statement under oath, so it's recorded. It has to be recorded by like a stenographer. So that's on record. He can just say, yeah, these guys are fucking stupid and insane, and nothing they say can be trusted because first of all, they're criminals. They lie on their tax returns.
There's been snidey with authority.
Yeah, and also, Your Honor, they don't respect the authority of the court.
And Southpaw's response being, but he was just joking. That's
joking.
That's our point. He's not supposed to joke.
Guess what happens when you make jokes under oath? You get held in contempt of court.
You get the sack. That's when you get shot in the back.
Oh man, don't talk about that in front of fucking police station. What are you doing?
You're pissing Look, we nab Montel.
And they talk about that in front of people.
So the problem is that these guys aren't really like charming and funny enough to be as reprehensible as they are. If you look at like let's call him the charming rogue.
The Han Solo.
Yeah, like the Han Solo. If he was played by some sort of fat, uncharming neckbeard, people would be like, he's a right fucking creep. He's a right weirdo. Look at me, he just murdered Greedo. But because he's charming and witty and funny, he can get away with it, and that's because he's well written. So that's the problem with this show, is that it's trying to be it's trying to make these like guys, like these sleazebags, charming and witty, but unfortunately the writing still just isn't there.
No, it's not.
I mean, you know me, you know my favorite characters in anything are usually like the sleaziest,
the biggest scumbags of all,
the most despicable characters in any show. So I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Here it comes. Fungus, I have my head in my hands like, oh, God. Oh. No. Do you like how that joke had 3 clarifiers? To make it even more obvious? Fungus, react!
No, I don't want to.
So, before this point, as we can see, from like the screenshot here of the timeline on Premiere Pro. There's been 10 minutes of silence. They have not said shit except for Frinny going like at one point. That's it.
This is like episode 3, isn't it?
This is episode 2.
Oh, right.
Each episode is an hour long. That's why.
Okay.
I'm waiting on episode 3 to start so I can pause it.
Same here. It's taking a little long.
There we go. So, what did you guys think of that episode?
So these are like we're in the high, like the 10 out of 10s now, right? Or are we not?
Oh, I like that subtle diss. That is a subtle diss.
That's such an amazing question to open with.
So we're the 10 out of 10s now?
So this is what you think is a 10 out of 10, right?
Remember, it's been quiet for 10 minutes. That's the first thing Mahler says.
No, the first thing that Mahler says is,
No. I would give most episodes a 9 and then like a couple episodes a 10 and one episode an 8. And I think
okay, so this would be a 9, right?
Yeah, I think it's a 9, and like enjoyment wise, like for the whole show, for me it's a 10. It's just on
Oh really?
feeling. All the stuff that is really good with the characters is just stuff that would normally bother me if in something like, I don't know, a show that has that's just like littered with these types of problems. They're really inconsequential here, largely because I think it's carried by the really great character work in this.
Do you think they're inconsequential for episode 1?
So with episode 1, it's just like I didn't really think about those being issues in particular, because again, the way that I understood it was with
The way I see it.
with OBPD, OBPD and Mark, they're really tight basically, and it's kind of like, I guess my analogy for this would be something like Batman, where
What?
technically speaking, Batman is a criminal, a vigilante, and he's always shown working with the cops. Well, not always, but most of the time.
hey, Fringy. I called you Fringy there. It's because you're both black.
Yeah.
Fries.
Go on.
Do you remember that time in Batman when Batman was deposed?
Remember that time Batman was under oath and he was joking about seashells by the seashore?
Yeah, I remember that one.
I mean, this is a Paul stretch, if I've ever seen one. He's talking about Batman, comparing Batman to Terriers.
Yeah.
For some, I mean, at least find like another crime procedural show character to compare Hank to. I think it was. Comparing it to Batman just seems like you have a limited like palette of media you've seen in your life.
It's also incongruous because Batman is a comic book character, not a like this is supposed to be like realistic.
Even Southpaw said so earlier. It's grounded in logic, this show.
Yeah, so it's kind of dumb to compare a character in a realistic show to like, oh, it's like Batman, where the police sort of like technically like Batman's illegal and or like a criminal, but it's like the police don't actually like, this is supposed to be realistic, and the police don't actually like operate like that. They don't work with people who like break the law or operate outside the law, typically speaking. That's not what it looks like from what we've seen of the first episode, where they're being deposed under oath. The police guy doesn't trust our main character. Like, he clearly doesn't trust him to a certain degree, and certainly not enough to allow crimes to overlook crimes. So it's kind of weird for him to compare him to Batman, because it's totally different. Like Batman can, the whole point of Batman is that he's going after criminals that the police can't.
Well, if we're translating Batman to a much more realistic setting, then I guess that you can't possibly have a bat signal on the police department.
What the fuck is your point?
Consider, you know.
So,
I
big
feel like
difference between Batman and Hank is that the police can't get Batman, or at least Batman will make he'll make it very hard for them to get him.
I don't know who he is. The
yeah.
I don't know who he is.
Also, Gotham.
To stop because he's like awesome fighter, crazy tech.
Well,
so it's like
for Batman to
Here
be
it
an
comes.
awesome fighter in most stuff, it's just like it's very hard to believe that Batman would that there could be an actual Batman, basically.
Yeah, no shit.
Don't say. Also, Fungus, why is he making this point?
Part of the issue with
Because this is the way he's conceptualized it in his own head. So that's why he's justified Hank not being immediately arrested for breaking and entering after episode 1.
Because Batman can't exist in real life.
Because he sees Hank as the more realistic Batman, and then Batman, obviously somebody like Batman can't exist in real life, but Hank's like the more realistic in real life version of Batman. But the reason why Batman can't exist in real life is because it's physically impossible for somebody to operate like Batman, and the reason why Hank can't exist in real life is because there's no way he wouldn't be arrested after the events of episode 1. In his mind, it justifies it because they're both unrealistic, but he sees it as they're both unrealistic because for the same reason. And he sees the reason why the police don't arrest Batman is because they cooperate in certain events. They cooperate in certain ways, and even though Batman is technically a criminal, the police overlook that because Batman and the police, their interests co-align, and Batman can operate outside of the confines of the law. So Southpaw sees that, and he thinks that that's the reason why Hank can continue to operate and continue to exist freely, because the police, Hank and the police, in Southpaw's mind, have a sort of a cooperative relationship. Whereas in reality, the only reason why Hank isn't immediately arrested after the events of episode 1 is because of shitty writing.
Okay, that's why this comparison is so bizarre. It's because Hank and Batman, their moral alignment is totally different.
He's very morally simple and direct. He hates crime, and he hates criminals, and he will beat the shit out of a criminal and break every single bone in their body, whereas Hank is corrupt. He's just a morally corrupt man.
He's like the comparison he should have made: Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Now that would have been more apt.
They mentioned that they have half the OBPD on their side, but maybe she's counting on like cops that aren't on their side being sent over to arrest them.
My God, man. Okay.
My God, man.
In the middle of a crime.
My God, man.
That's not really.
What?
Ooh, did you hear that, Fungus?
The half that are
Yeah.
Did you hear the snide in that?
Once they
What?
go, they can just get their friends.
That was a
to
Bill
come.
Burr snide.
So are
And besides, the threat was that.
And this
any
is a Bill
police
Burr
would
mood right
consider
now
it
from
drug
Southpaw.
paraphernalia.
Well, so the idea is from her point of view, she has been told we're criminals, we have friends, so we're protected, and what you're doing here is illegal. So if you mess with us, we're going to destroy your life.
And her choice in response is to have them beaten and then cause
Ah, there
the
it
police
comes.
to arrive. And you're saying, well, hopefully good cops show up.
yeah.
Oh!
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my! That was like, what was that? Like 12 seconds of pure,
Cops show up.
palpable
What can I say?
silence.
It wouldn't matter. Okay.
Go back to it. I want to hear that
I
again.
think that is what one would call a pregnant pause. Holy shit, that was actually 12 seconds.
It was like around 9 seconds. I looked at the timer right now.
Right.
But that's still, dude. And just listen to that. Yeah, he is so.
Okay.
You are so bitter.
You're suggesting that she hopes good cops show up. I'm saying, why would she risk it? And even if they did, and they were all for some reason 100% against searching the house that just had a man assault 2 people in it, and the windows are smashed, you're going in there. So they'll find stuff. Even if they were good cops, the bad cops would come later because they've just beaten these people up after threatening them to use the cops' connection.
And what would she be expecting the good cops, the cops to find in her house?
The stuff they threatened to have be found, yeah.
So she could just get rid of that ahead of time?
So then why bother with any of this in the first place?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just get rid of the paraphernalia and not have Montel beat him up?
Yeah, all you do then is have you call the police, and you're like, I have nothing in my house worth finding. These people are threatening to take money away from me. Please help me.
Well, because those guys are still coming to her house. Like
Call the police.
It's so circular.
Again, I can understand why she would do this. Like why this character would do this. Even if I would not do it myself, I can understand why she would.
And I'm waiting for the argument, but I haven't gotten it yet.
Because again, it relies on being more.
Oh my god, Mauler, that was.
I guess. Like rational as.
Mauler is losing his patience.
Like,
it's
so. Something that I can see having.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear how frustrated Mauler is?
Yeah, it's not a crime to hold a baseball bat.
Sin.
And remember, they haven't broken into a house, so they are in neutral.
Yeah, and then you're like, hey, they threatened me though. It's like, where's the proof?
Evan's such a snake.
And then only one of those 4 people have priors and are wanted currently. And that's the one that everyone is.
You know what? Evan is not an ally. Okay. He's nobody's ally.
So this is such a Evan clearly is just a sycophant, and he will just be. He'll just hitch his fucking horse to the biggest wagon, and right now that's Fringy and Mauler. Whereas
initially it was Southpaw, because Evan said he also enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's quite telling that at the start Evan just lets Southpaw ramble, and he doesn't say anything either. He doesn't reinforce Southpaw's position. He doesn't even give his opinion on the show.
That's what I mean. Evan is being very, very, very silent throughout the majority of this recording.
Probably because he realizes the show is dog shit.
We're saying it's already been moved forward, and it shouldn't have yet. So like when you
so keep in mind
down for a house,
dear audience,
100%. Now I'm gonna need proof of ID. I think you have to do it's like 4 things.
Southpaw is the sacred cow killer.
Proof of your current.
That's right.
This man will kill your sacred cows, and he will enjoy it.
And then I think like proof of like maybe a bill that's been paid, I think, or something like that. So he could provide all of them except proof that he can pay it. He's got no chance of paying it, from what I understand right now, which means they wouldn't have accepted.
Sorry, what?
Has Southpaw never bought something?
That's a good question.
You can't buy something without proof of it.
Well, I'm kind of confused here, right? Because it's like when I'm watching the show, these are mistakes that I think are unreasonable for people to make, especially criminals. And so it's like
I'm arguing they're out of character mistakes.
Out of character mistakes in terms of like.
From what I understand of these people, and they're all mistakes they have to make in order to have the storyline run as it needs to.
Yeah. And it's a lot of them. It's not just one like everybody's making these really.
You know what? I miss this Mauler.
What?
I miss this kind of Mauler. The Mauler that just laser focuses in on critical errors in movies and just lays them out. Just lays them out, and because he's got a pretty good he is really good at critical analyst and critical analysis. I hate the EFAP Mauler.
And I've come to dislike it over the years too.
I really hate that Mauler because he's a fucking cringe bastard who just steals money off his audience.
Yes.
But this Mauler, I love this Mauler. I wish this Mauler, I saw more of this Mauler.
Yeah, I would kiss this Mauler on the cheek. I'm not specifying which one.
They're established to be much more dubious and irresponsible, and they develop into better people by the end of the show.
Okay.
Are you liking any of the stuff with Hank and his
Ooh.
ex-wife?
Now that is fishing for compliments for the show.
Southpaw is desperate for any sort of positive. And bear in mind, they've only watched 2 episodes. It's pretty amazing that Mauler and Fringy are going to have such a comprehensive opinion about a show they've watched 2 episodes of, and that Southpaw has, in this, bear in mind, this is a edited down version of all of Southpaw's responses. But in none of the responses, and as far as you've watched the whole thing, so I'm sure you can correct me, but it doesn't look like he says, except for in this part, that it gets better, or that the first two episodes are rough. He just seems to be conceding a lot of points, or just not arguing them.
Well, more so not arguing them.
It would be like if I just can't think of a show that's, because the earliest episodes are usually the best, because they have to grab the audience and sit them down and get them to love the show as fast as they can. They set up the tone, they set up the characters, everything. And it seems that Mauler and Fringy have just immediately understood the show, immediately understood the characters, and they just don't like it. And South was just utterly
dismayed,
destroyed. He's destroyed. He's been utterly destroyed by us.
He sounds so depressed.
A lot of these criticisms appear to be assuming
assuming
almost like hyper competence, I guess, like expecting
Jesus
criminals to be like really reasonable and level-headed, and it's just it's hard for me to like buy into it.
These are all non-arguments. I don't think Southpaw understands that these are the exact type of arguments that they mock constantly on the show.
So
he's just completely oblivious to this.
Here's the fucking stupid point. Why can't criminals be intelligent? Is it a good show if all the criminals in it or all the antagonists in it are really fucking stupid?
Yeah, if the defense is they're dumb, that's shit.
Yeah. Also, Mauler and Fringy are not criminals, and they are not invested in the survival. They are not invested in their continued survival as criminals. So if Mauler can come out and say, well, why didn't they do these things? Like when they killed that guy in episode 1. If he can come out and immediately identify, like, when they kill him at some other location, why didn't they take the phone or whatever? Mauler isn't going to go to jail for that mistake. Mauler isn't a character in this film that the writers have created. So he has no investment in the success or failure of that particular, assassination. But for him to identify a problem and then think of a better solution, you can't come out and say, "Oh, well, they're just dumb," because the writers have to make these characters competent, because that's what makes characters interesting. So it's the writers who are stupid, because apparently the writers are less intelligent after several redrafts than Mauler watching this film, Mauler and Fringy watching this once. It's so dumb to just say, I think you're expecting these criminals to be hyper competent. Well, I'm expecting them to be baseline competent, because it's their job to be criminals. So if it was my job to be a criminal, I should be somewhat proficient at it, or at least not totally retarded.
Okay.
Favorite podcast.
So now that we're done with the Terriers recording, at last,
Jesus,
we'll get to the cream of the crop. Okay.
The meat and
This is what I've been most excited for. What I
and
couldn't
potatoes.
wait for. I can't wait to see people's reaction to this confrontation. This is
Meat and
this is
potatoes
some of the
gaming.
greatest cringe I've seen, possibly all year. I couldn't help but be a little bit wary about covering this because it is a private call that has been leaked by a third party. That's at least what I thought at first. And you don't know this, but would you believe that Southpaw and SK actually intended to leak this themselves?
I think that SK is probably going to provide the link to the watch party in the description, as well as as well as a recording of the that one call.
That one call with Wolf where he was being a fucking dense piece of shit degenerate and had completely misrepresented what was being said. Yeah, I remember that. That's gonna be fun to analyze.
Yeah, because it's like it's good to just not just clip these things and just to put in the videos. Like, well, give people a chance to look at the full context for themselves too. I don't think it's going
even I'd even suggest this if you want like the full I guess effect. It won't be necessary because I'll provide everything, but if you want the full effect, I would recommend. I'll even make it an order of things to watch / read before you even start. I could even explain that at the beginning. So
Why you would ever leak this in full is beyond me. And also just the fact, I know we've mentioned this, but it bears repeating, that this is a confrontation between Southpaw and Wolf. For the first time in, since March 2021, he's back again. He makes his proud return to the internet. Once again because of Southpaw. Before we start with the recording. Do you see this fucking message from Southpaw that he's left? This giant diatribe? I have been a major mess of emotions about this for months, Wolf.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, have you noticed like a pattern with Southpaw? He makes everything so personal.
It's because I genuinely think he feels these emotions.
Yeah.
And I think he just needs to get off the internet, especially Twitter.
And now here we are. You sent me another friend request.
Wait, hold on, what?
Did this guy? It's part of Southpaw's message to Wolf. This is what you said, Fungus. This is so Shakespearean. This is so theatrical. This could be performed on stage. This is the Southpaw tragedy. So like some opera music.
Probably nothing I've just outlined here matters all that much, or does anything to make you less angry at what I've been saying.
Oh, boo-hoo.
So if you really got to get this off your chest, then go ahead. Do you know my favorite thing is that? Do you know really? It's in italics. Obviously, you and I are on a Discord. We both know that he put 2 asterisks there on the really. So it's so funny where it's just like if you asterisk really asterisk got to get this off your chest, then go right ahead. It's so structured to be so dramatic. Like it's so fucking retardedly dramatic. He's such he this is all so performative. So he's putting this special emphasis on really, but you're gonna have to do it knowing full well that as certain as I am over this and how I've actually given into bitterness and anger since the fallout. Out. Jesus Christ, this reads like Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
If you're not with me,
but
you're my enemy.
But Anakin, you're going to have to do it knowing full well that as hurt as I am over this, and how I've actually given into bitterness and darkness since the falling out.
In my opinion, Terriers is great.
You have no idea how open I am to letting it all go, hashing out our differences and burying the hatchet. Whether that means we work our way into restoring our friendship, or simply walk away from each other with peace and closure. If you're not with Terriers, you're against me.
If you ever sent me this on Discord, I would block you on the spot.
This is fatherless behavior.
This is fatherless behavior, yeah.
This is fatherless behavior. I'm gonna take a wild stab in the dark and say you could probably hop in a call right now. You know what, Wolf? We've had our differences.
Yeah, you might be a pedo allegedly, but you're alright.
But if you are a pedo, I'm gonna hunt you down and kill you. But if you're not, you're okay.
I'm gonna have a beer with you. Alright, so Southpaw's audio is muted for the first 4 minutes.
I want to cut off your opening and say that I'm recording this.
Fuck it, hell. I want to cut off your opening.
I mean, if you're at that point where you're both recording, like clearly you don't trust each other. Why even speak to each other at all?
Yeah.
And you're still going on about terriers 4 months later. You know, I think it's funny that you decided to open up your huge diatribe with, or you didn't open it up with this, but you did put it in there. Something to the effect of, "Oh, my life, I don't have a whole lot going for me," but apparently you never thought about, you know, maybe not spending 4 months about complaining about us not liking a TV show.
Oh, Jesus, Wolf.
Kind of looks like that from our angle.
What I like about this is that, one, I can't hear what Southpaw's saying. Two, that Wolf is just clearly just opens up on the attack.
He is pissed. He's done.
Wolf, if for whatever reason you watch this, you're okay.
So, do you think he's gonna like watch this after we called him a pedo, allegedly?
Allegedly. It's alleged, which is true, that it's alleged.
You can't get me on that. Court,
Your Honor. I sell seashells by the seashore. You know, that's what I say in my tax returns.
Wolf is under oath. Southpaw was just saying you're under oath. By the way, I have the FBI on the other line. Everything you say can and will be used against you.
I quite like this version, but we just don't hear what Southpaw's saying.
Yeah, we can just we can imagine dude. We can have the worst faith imaginations about what Southpaw's saying right now.
He's just repeating the N-word over and over.
Dude, he won't stop saying the N-word. It's unbelievable.
That's why it's coming through clearly on our end, so I don't know if the audience can hear it.
Yeah.
We can hear everything he's saying.
So it's coming through so loudly that it's cutting the audio.
We're actually censoring it.
We're censoring it in real time.
Southpaw's going through. He's admitting that he planned the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, could you believe it?
There's just like overall level of discomfort.
The World Trade Center just got hacked.
There was an overall level of discomfort.
During it. And it's something that like others have picked up on as they've gone through the recording.
Just sharing recordings with everybody, right?
And it's a
Wolves are okay with that.
Of course you. Okay, Fungus. Who would be okay with that?
Right. Like the idea was to have it edited and uploaded to YouTube if things went.
Yeah, I'm sure Mahler loves that this is being shared around as gossip,
And
unedited.
You use it as a way to bludgeon them over and over, and me for some reason.
So I want to pause it. We're going to pause it here.
Pause. Yeah.
I just want to say, Wolf, if you're watching this, we did warn you about this. We did warn Wolf in specific and in particular, but we did put out a general warning a year ago about the type of person Southpaw was and is,
and will continue to be for the rest of time.
Yeah, until he just leaves the internet for like a year or so and just realizes how nice life is when you don't have Twitter. I'm not saying I told you so. Right? What I'm saying is I did not told you so.
That's how I get away with it.
That's how I get away with it. That's how I've been avoiding jail for so long. I didn't kill him, but I did not murder him.
All of these points that the Wolf is bringing up against Southpaw, it is pure catharsis.
Just don't take them seriously. If that's the one advice, if that's the one takeaway you get from this video is just don't take them seriously. They're not serious people.
Yeah.
And they want to be taken seriously because they want to act, because this is the only thing they have going in their life, as Wolf just said that Southpaw admitted. So they want to legitimize this. So the best thing you can do is just to mock this part of their life relentlessly. Just constantly make fun of them for being losers.
Mock, refuse to elaborate, and then leave.
Yeah, just don't engage with them as if anything they say is legitimate or makes sense. Just keep making fun of them. Call them losers. Call them a virgin. Tell them to go touch grass. Troll them.
And to be fair, Fungus, that's what the majority of the EFAP community, at least on Reddit, are doing.
That's
they just
what they
don't.
should do. But
nobody cares to look into this drama. I'm probably like the only person who's looked this extensively into it, and I haven't even given you the full picture.
We're kind of not following even our own advice. where we're like commentating on the whole thing.
We're reporters, okay? The revenge arc. I'm coming for you.
Oh my god. Is this our heel turn?
Does it not strike you as
That's a wrestling term.
odd that you're willing to snipe at them for literal months on end for a third of a fucking year over a TV show, but you weren't willing to watch more than 2 episodes with them?
Good
Does
point.
That not strike you as just a little bit?
Ooh, Wolf.
I don't know.
Nice one.
I
Pussy-ish.
found it like difficult to even reason with them, especially given there are certain things.
You turned them against me.
Like what?
Okay.
Name one unreasonable thing they've said.
Okay. So
Okay.
when it comes to the real estate thing, I actually there's a guy that I was talking to who works in real estate.
I talked to an expert realtor.
And he says that while
My dad works in Nintendo.
100% accurate in terms of the check being not directly from Hank. It's from Lindis. It's written to Hank. But in terms of it being put down as a bid, that's an earnest money deposit, which they can't actually do.
So Wolf asked him to name one unreasonable thing. During the recording, I'm pretty sure Southpaw conceded the real estate point. So Southpaw at the time thought that their argument was reasonable. It sounded reasonable, and it sounds reasonable to a layperson.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't. Something may sound reasonable, and I could be wrong. But then now Southpaw, which you should not take anything Southpaw says with good faith. He has not established that he operates in good faith. So he's probably lying.
But okay, Fungus. Even if he wasn't lying, who's this real estate guy? Do you think if we bully Southpaw enough, he's just gonna dox him? Like, here's his address and his phone number, so you can confirm, so you can validate that this guy, in fact, worked in real estate during the 2008 financial crisis, and that's why he knows stuff about that relates to Terriers criticism.
Yeah.
Also, wait a minute. How the hell did he get a hold of this guy? Why is this guy on the Southpaw server like this 40-year-old real estate man?
Just so, if Mola is wrong about the minutia of selling something in the real estate, that doesn't mean his point is unreasonable.
No,
because it just means it's wrong, and it's not validated by an expert's opinion. But having said that, I still think Southpaw is lying. I still think that the point that Mola brought up is correct. I just don't trust a single word that this motherfucker has to say.
Southpaw, if you're not lying, dox him. I dare you.
And I simply didn't have information on that being a thing as we're watching it. Or like when they're talking
So how is that unreasonable?
Mickey didn't have Eleanor's phone number. I went over this with Mahler after the episode. It's made clear in the episode that she apparently was contacting her father through a payphone.
Apparently.
Do you hear how confused Wolf is?
Yeah, but so in Southpaw's, like, in his defense, like, well, actually, it turns out that apparently just means I think. That's all apparently means. Apparently Southpaw bombed a children's hospital in Ukraine while he's working for the Russian Air Force. Apparently.
Roll it back a bit. What was
Is that-
unreasonable about the position with the real estate thing?
Good catch, Wolf.
Hank goes into the open house and he has a $20,000 check, right? He presents it to the realtor or real estate agent, whatever the fuck. And then he says, if I give you this, how fast can we get these yokels out of here? The scene cuts away. We don't see what happens between that exact line and them just cutting away to the next scene. That was presented as an issue because Hank doesn't have pre-approval for a mortgage loan. Now, there's a guy who is privy to what's going on with the show. He's going through the show. He's about halfway through. And he works in real estate in California. And he says, no, that's actually something that would happen, especially in 2010, when you have, I believe it was a buyer's market, even if the person that's giving it doesn't have pre-approval for a loan. And
you still haven't answered my question. What's the unreasonable part that they've said?
So they said that that was a completely unrealistic thing that wouldn't happen.
That's not an unrealistic, because Mauler talks us through his logic, and it doesn't sound unreasonable. It's just that Mauler does not have specialized information about the buyers, about the real estate market, right during the 2010. During 2010. So all this is just layman knowledge in Mauler versus subject matter expert knowledge that with Southpaw's
expert guy.
Southpaw's expert. Which, by the way, he's lying, definitely. Southpaw's definitely lying. Until Southpaw actually proves that he's telling the truth, he is lying.
Yes.
That's what you should always keep in mind, that the default position is that Southpaw is lying.
I mean, according to a real estate agent, it's something that definitely could happen, though.
Could happen.
All right. I don't know. I don't remember enough of this fucking stupid show. Honestly, it's not really about the show anymore. It's just about like what you're doing, what you've been doing for like 4 months.
Why did you message me?
Alright. You know what I love? I love like his teeth clenched. Why did you message me? Like he's so burning with hatred at the moment.
So it sounds to me like Southpaw is asking these questions with the knowledge that this is being recorded. He's asking these questions with the knowledge that he's recording on his end, with the intention of then leaking it. It sounds like he's leading Wolf into a trap.
Yeah, because he didn't answer Wolf's question at all. He's just answering another question.
And he's like, well, why did you message me?
Why did you message? You know what? Was Christian Bale like the guy who went off? He had that rant against that guy on set. I was looking at the lights. Like that's what it reminds me of.
So do you think?
Great job.
Mauler put me up to messaging you?
Why did you message me?
Because it really seems like you've been implying, at least a little bit, that I have like no autonomy over my own actions.
No, I don't. Because
EFAB is not a hive mind, Southpaw.
I hate you because I talked to him.
No, when I offered Mauler, like, hey, let's go through the rest of the show, he declined. At that point, I knew you kind of went to me on your own.
That's a lie, by the way. Put it up on screen. And it's amazing because Southpaw pinned this tweet because he's a fucking idiot. Well, we should probably not continue watching the show, I guess. And then Mauler says in return, well, it's up to you. Mauler didn't recline. He just said it's up to you. So Southpaw is lying.
That son of a bitch.
You're lying!
Okay.
Was that you went to me?
Why was it you went to me?
Made clear,
came to me.
Like, Mauler and I were just going to agree to disagree. And that.
Well, why do you think? Give your wild stab in the dark. I mean, you've had 4 months to think about it.
You know what? In private, these like the discussions that these people have been like Mauler and Wolf have been having, especially Wolf, just in this, he's on pretty good form so far. He's not letting Southpaw talk his way around things. He's calling him out and he's keeping him fixed onto points. He's not letting him talk around issues. It's actually quite refreshing.
For a change.
I wish this type of EFAP still existed.
What, just private calls leaked? That should be what
No,
EFAP is.
Yeah, I just wish like that EFAP maintained their balls. They didn't all shrivel up because of the Jenny Nichols thing. But that's a different point. That's a separate point.
My best guess is that there was a call that you and Mauler and Fringy were in where they were disappointed in that particular development. Right? Okay.
Well, I don't remember if it was a call or if I was just DMing Mauler.
When Mauler
the same thing.
When Mauler had told me it's totally okay. It was totally okay for that decision to be made.
Okay.
You know that, right?
Well, yeah, he showed me what you said to him.
Why are you not talking directly to each other? That's the real question.
So then
And then you...
Because he's a count.
I'll scroll up here and just read exactly what you told me because it's pretty dumb. So you say that, and then you message me saying, dude, let me show you this. You send me the recording, and then Mauler and Fringy have a very unbased take on terriers, let's just say. And then you send me that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So you're more than willing to bitch about it behind their backs, but not watch the rest of the show with them.
Ooh. Southpaw?
You there?
Hello? You there?
I mean,
Oh my god, that was that was another 10-second silence. Also, do you like how his defense is, but I was freaking out. What? Like what?
I was freaking out. I was just they didn't like Terriers. I was losing my mind. I didn't know what to do.
Do you have like zero impulse control at all? I mean, you can control your fingers at least, even if you're very emotional.
Well, you clearly wanted a response. You wanted me to back up your opinion.
But my question is like, so I guess it was more about like I had said, like I think it was after I had sent that to you.
Make a point, Southpaw.
Had the discussion. We were talking over the show some more, and it just became clear like I don't think that they're going to change their minds on this. I don't think if they hate the first 2 episodes, they're going to care.
All right, that was very telling. I don't think they're going to change their minds on this. So he didn't want to show them the show to see what they think. He wanted them to like the show.
That's true. That I actually didn't catch that, so it's not a good point.
So it doesn't matter if they're going to change their mind or not, because if you were a critical and a real critic of media, you would actually value the input that Mauler and Fringy can give, because it will build up your own ability to critically analyze shows, and it would actually be a lot more useful if they critically analyze a show that you like, so you can then analyze your weaknesses and you can see where your weaknesses lay in your own analytical skills. But he doesn't. He just says,
Ooh.
"Oh well, I wasn't going to change their mind. I just gave up. I wasn't going to change their mind. So what's the point in continuing the conversation?"
Now that's something a weak person does.
Yeah, the point isn't to change their minds. The point isn't. Or at least the point shouldn't be to change their minds. The point should be to make yourself better, to improve yourself, to make yourself a more whole person. Like that's why these sort of these online debates or these political debates that people have, like the presidential debates, it's not really to change. Like, I don't think Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump had their debates to change each other's minds. It was more.
Of course not.
It was more to understand their own points more deeply, and to be able to counter the other's points. And so, if, let's say, Donald Trump, let's say old Don said, well, I'm like, after the first 2 questions, just gave up and walked off the stage. What would that look like? What would that seem like? How would people would quite rightly say, oh, well, he just gave up because he couldn't win. He just gave up, and he's a coward, and he can't stand on the merit of his own arguments. Whereas, and Southpaw is just like, yeah, no, I did it because they were just being unreasonable. Well, if they're being unreasonable, it's easier to counter their points. But since he's stupidly revealed the entire stream, the entire watch together, we know that the points that they didn't make up aren't unreasonable. They're actually incredibly reasonable, and they are being very generous as well. I think.
Dare I say a little too generous?
I'd say a little too generous, which says to me that they kind of thought that they were just watching a show with a friend, as opposed to, well, which is way different apparently than what Southpaw was thinking, looking at it like.
Yeah, even though Southpaw has been friends, quote unquote, with these people for years. I mean, who knows how like authentic their relationship is if you can just end like this over seemingly nothing.
I'd say that Friggy and Wolf have, not Friggy and Wolf, sorry, Southpaw and Wolf have the closest relationship out of the EFAP people and Southpaw. And look how tense this conversation is between the two of them.
Recording each other.
Yeah, recording each other. This is like Cold War shit. This is insane.
This is the UN delegates meeting with like Russian spokespeople.
Yeah, this is great. Like, just so you know, I got a sniper watching you. Wow, well, that's fine. I got a sniper watching you too.
God, I'm so glad we're not like this. I mean, really, this is the kind of shit that makes you hate your life. Like, imagine having to deal with this. This is, I mean, this is definitely not the first time. They probably have
you're not
millions.
Conversation, are you?
Looks around awkwardly. Walks out of door. But Fungus, you know they have probably millions of these laying around. At any point, they could leak any of these.
I don't think they do, honestly.
Well, doesn't the description of this video say this is just the beginning of SK and Southpaw's archive? So they probably have much more.
Southpaw probably does, and SK does. I doubt Wolf does.
Yeah, that Wolf cares.
Because this is like the rest of the EFAP guys as well. They don't seem to want to engage with somebody that they have to put this much defensive effort into. So they have to watch what they say. They have to preface everything. They have to record their own conversations so they can make sure that there's no malicious misinterpretation. Like, why would you willingly engage with that person? Like, why would you talk to that? Why would you talk to a person where you have to do that much effort into it? Unless it's sort of you go into the conversation knowing all of that, and you're still like, yeah, well, I have to clear the air, so I'm just gonna have to sort of strap on all this body armor and jump out of the plane into the enemy territory.
And this is why it's so much funnier that Southpaw and SK were just gonna leak this on their own. They're gonna show the whole world that this is what they're like.
It really doesn't paint them in a good light. It makes them seem like unlikable twats. Like, that's really what they seem like. Is just totally unlikable people.
I mean, me and Fungus might be assholes, but at least we're funny assholes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm funny. I don't know about you.
Okay, well, if you're gonna be like that, I'm just gonna,
What? You're gonna what? You're gonna do nothing.
Sigh. Sigh. I think I'm just gonna leave.
Is that a Chris Chan reference?
No, I was like doing Southpaw.
Oh, that close enough, I guess.
I mean, they are. Wait a minute.
I've never seen Southpaw and Southpaw and Chris Chan in the same room.
The parallels are uncanny between Southpaw and Chris Chan.
Oh my god.
The guy who fucked his mother. Ooh. I don't know, Southpaw. What are you doing with your mom?
Southpaw and Southpaw, Chris Chan, same person. They both have a dead dad.
Yeah, that's true.
They both went from being two separate people on Earth, so that's like 7 billion people, to now they both have dead dads. Let's close that by a significant margin. They both live in America, even smaller.
Alright, let's continue before we go down this rabbit hole too deep.
Yeah.
I simply don't
That's grammar.
agree with their criticisms here, and it feels a little bad
Sorry.
against the show and
Against the show. You have offended the show, sir.
These characters aren't real, Southpaw.
I must defend my show.
So you think it? So you respond to what you perceive as bad faith against a TV show, and then turn right around and imply that Mahler and Fringy are rape apologists. And you're really gonna sit here and talk about bad faith?
yeah, I shouldn't have said that they were rape apologists. That was
Alright, so let's pause here.
Is this the infamous false memory implantation?
Yes. So
Did we
again,
just witness Wolf unleashing his psionic abilities?
Remember, Southpaw says he doesn't dispute that he said, like, at this time he's not disputing that I said they were rape apologists. But then later on, and this is like in the last few days, he's come up with the defense like, oh, I didn't say they were rape apologists. I said they were victim blaming. It's like, those are basically synonymous. Like, rape apologists is just a more harsh way of saying victim blaming. It doesn't change anything.
There is not even a moment of hesitation in Southpaw's response. He doesn't say, did I? He doesn't say, I don't remember doing that. If I did, I apologize unreservedly. Wolf says, yeah, what you said is tantamount to accusing them of being rape apologists. And he just says, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. He just immediately apologizes and says, I shouldn't have done it. He apologizes, he accepts blame, he accepts responsibility. He does not ever even imply that he doesn't know what Wolf is talking about. From the very moment that Wolf says you accuse them of being rape apologists, he just apologizes.
Yeah.
So,
but his memory was foggy at the time, Fungus. It's dude, I have no control of my own actions. It's everyone. It's Wolf's fault.
Yeah, my memory is foggy at the time. Fries, if you accused me of murdering somebody, so go ahead, accuse me of murdering somebody.
So you murdered somebody? Really?
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And now later on, I'll turn around and say, yeah, but I was confused.
Sorry, I was like psychically manipulated by Psycho Mantis, and that's why like I can't remember anything.
What a reference!
Yeah. He corrupted my memory card and
he corrupted my memory card. He made my controller rumble. It was so scary. It's so very clearly Southpaw knows exactly what he's talking about. He immediately apologizes. He accepts that he knows what Wolf is talking about. There's not a moment of hesitation. He just like, yeah, no, sorry, shouldn't have done that. That was not a good. That was not a good thing for me to do. And then he turns around. Well, I was confused. I didn't know what he was talking about. Then why? So why would you apologize for something that you didn't know somebody was talking about? This is an example why you don't take anything Southpaw says under good faith. He should not be trusted.
He's a schemer, I tell you.
Well, considering what happened in the build up before that. I mean, Fringy literally strawmanned me, and
Oh.
Oh yeah, he strawmanned you. That's why it's okay to call him a rape apologist.
No, he didn't strawman me. He literally strawmanned me. What's the
literally? Because
What?
remember,
There's a distinction
literally-
without a difference, by the way.
So remember, literally just means he did this, but even worse.
Yeah, literally has a non-meaning these days. Even I fall into the trap sometimes. So when did Frinny strawman him? I don't know.
He didn't?
It's a good question. Well, Wolf interrupted him, so we won't know, but...
Yeah, exactly. He didn't. That's the answer. Because as we said before, Southpaw lies.
there was a lot of escalations that led to me getting pretty upset and not thinking clearly when I said that. Yes, and I'm not. I'm
I was freaking out. I'm not thinking clearly.
So he doesn't have responsibility over his own actions. Is he a cat?
That's what I said.
Is he a cat? Is he a cat when you like set off like a vacuum cleaner near it and it just freaks out and starts clawing at you? Is that what Southpaw is? Does he just have this natural and predictive reaction to criticism of terriers that when you criticize it, he just starts clawing at your ankles? You dumb motherfucker! Oh, I was freaking out, so you can't criticize me.
Is that why he's called Southpaw? That's my joke for the evening. Good night.
Oh, that was your joke. You wasted your joke on that.
For the fact that I said that and I shouldn't have said that, but this
Really?
didn't come out of a fucking vacuum. Wolf.
Wait, so once again, so Southpaw has for the second time now apologized for calling Fringy a rape apologist. So clearly not him misremembering an event if it was brought up twice and he immediately and unreservedly apologizes without hesitation in both the times it is brought
The
up.
memory card is still corrupted at this time.
I don't think someone said your show sucks. That I said, well, you're okay with rape.
Well, I should have understood that.
That's
what
something you
happens in the
tweeted
show-
or no, you didn't tweet that publicly. But that's something you said about them. You also said on Twitter that they are incapable of bad faith. I still don't know if you actually deleted those because Twitter just doesn't allow me to scroll down far enough to find it. I know you left it up for quite a long time, so it wouldn't
Surprise.
What's the word? It
Yeah?
wouldn't surprise me if
Hey.
you hadn't deleted them.
I'm still here.
Uh-huh.
I think that they.
You think they're incapable of good faith?
I think that they didn't make any good faith inferences.
Ooh, you can hear how nervous he is.
You tweeted.
Incapable of good faith? Okay.
Now that is an extreme accusation.
He made.
Capable of good faith.
Wow. Okay, so this is how.
I wanted to point this out because I couldn't believe it. He just look at the bottom right corner. There's just DMs being leaked from Jack Saint. We gotta talk over Discord at some point. Why do you want to talk to Jack Saint? What you mean like the arch enemy of Mauler in his and EFAB in his early days?
Look how many tabs of Lego that he has open.
That's what I wanted to point out. Fuck. So that's
Is he
Lego. He has let's see here, two Google Drive tabs open, 4 Google Docs tabs open. Spider-Man. It's some like a movie rating, Spider-Man movie rating. 8 Twitter tabs open.
And he has at least 4 different Twitter accounts.
Where do you see that?
Because you can see one has 2 notifications, one has 3, one has 5, another has 2, one has 2, one has 12, and one has 7.
Would that confirm he has multiple accounts? I'm
Well,
I'm really
because-
not sure, to be
because-
honest.
Because the notifications should come through in real time. So if these were all his main Twitter, he should have 7 across the board.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not like a wild accusation to say he has alts.
I'm willing to go public with it now. It's also based on ignorance of how U.S. police operate, a failure to infer the most basic good faith. So he's accusing these 3 of not understanding how the police operate. How would Southpaw know what the fucking police operate as?
He spoke to a real estate expert.
I mean, okay, so a failure
Wait,
to
hold on.
infer the
Hold
most-
on.
What? Did you spot something?
I just a lot of it's based on ignorance of how the U.S. police operate. A failure to infer the most basic good faith assumptions, i.e., immunity deals. An ability to recognize the noble qualities of the two protagonists along with the selfish, impulsive qualities they share, and a complete misinterpretation of how the show frames its morally grey characters.
A vast majority of their criticisms are based on ignorance of how U.S. police operate. That's referring to the blue wall of silence. A failure to infer the most basic good faith assumptions, such as like.
What is the blue wall of silence?
The reason why they don't get arrested.
It's probably something to do with Trump.
An inability to make
Oh, Dan
inferences
Crenshaw is trending.
Whatever the fuck, however you fucking phrase that, I don't know. Does that not read to you a lot like you're saying that they just can't argue in bad faith?
No, I didn't say inability. I said a.
Stop saying bad faith,
it's
Wolf.
Just, it's not that they're incapable of doing it. It's just I don't think that. I think they failed to make that inference for the show.
Oh, Fungus, you love this? This is backpedaling in real time.
Yeah. A failure to infer the most basic good faith assumptions. It's not that I'm saying that they can't make good faith assumptions, it's just that they're not.
But if I play the semantics game enough, then maybe I'll come out on top against Wolf.
I mean, I don't understand what they're arguing about. In this stage in 2022, people were dying of COVID. Like,
That's far more important.
There's more important things going on.
Southpaw, you could be solving cancer.
The Ukraine war is about to kick off, and these people are arguing about.
Oh, go back.
Because I think
you've got as much control as I have.
Oh, sorry. I forget.
Recently, like within 2 weeks of me watching the show,
I literally don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit. I'm just saying, like, so
because I think you're bringing it back to Terriers as though Terriers matters. That's not what matters anymore. You understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand that the reason I...
Oh my god, Wolf is talking to him like a fucking dad.
Berate you. I really didn't even want to talk to you until I saw...
Oh, that's gotta hurt the most. I don't even want to talk to you.
Wolf is like a disappointed dad. This is great.
Oh god.
Like, this is way beyond Terriers. Do you understand that, son? You understand how far this has gone? Also, this is fun. This is peak fatherless behavior. I just realized. He put that tweet out at 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's 3 a.m. local time, so that's 3 a.m. Southpaw's time. That's fatherless right there. That's fatherlessness.
The only reason I friended you is to get screenshots of the things that I said to you over the Terrier situation, because I had an inkling suspicion you were not going to represent them accurately. And that was it. I was gonna grab those and jump.
Wait, you weren't able to look at your own messages when we were...
No, because I...
Wolf doing a fucking
unfriended you and then I deleted the conversation, so I couldn't access them again. That was the only
Jesus,
reason.
Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, that just... Oh, okay.
There's people on Twitter, and I believe you retweeted one of them maybe more than once yesterday, who was bringing up anti-trans things I said literal years ago that you know for a fact I don't stand by now.
Wait, when did I retweet the anti-trans
You didn't
thing?
You didn't retweet that. It was someone who you had retweeted about other things. At least I think you had retweeted them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did because I linked.
See, I'm pretty sure you did.
To that page through one of your retweets.
Who is this person and what's this tweet?
Oh, let me pull it up because Mahler sent it to me last night. It was really great. This one.
For absolutely no reason. Okay.
Ooh.
I love that look. I just love that fucking image of Eric Texan.
Alright, should I just quickly tell you what he says in this clip? Because this tweet doesn't exist anymore. It's been deleted and retracted.
Yeah.
So he's talking about like Eric Texan, and this was before he transitioned. And he's saying like, Wolf is saying, well, you guys don't even know what gender you are.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, this is like a clip from quite an old EFAP. This is years old. And also Wolf has like left the... I mean, I pointed this out when this happened to you guys. Why are you calling out a person who's not even on the internet anymore? What's the point?
It's the guilt by association thing again.
Yeah, which is
that's what, and it's
baffling.
It's establishing a trend of unacceptable behavior. That's what they're doing.
Kind of looks like Christian.
Yeah, lose some weight, you fat bastard.
You slim fat bastard.
Right now? Okay, that's fine.
Why are you keeping this in?
I have to walk my dog real quick. I'll be right back, alright?
Wait, what? Hold on.
I have to walk my dog real quick.
Hold on. Let's go back to the phone call.
He's ringing the bell. I have to walk my dog real quick.
Right now? Okay, give me one. No, it's fine. I have to.
Southpaw just needs. He should just learn to say no. I'm busy right now.
Southpaw, what's going on with that conversation,
walk my
there?
dog real quick. I'll be right back. All right.
Yeah.
I think you should leak what's going on.
So now it's just me, you, and Wolf.
Alright, so let's skip ahead like a minute or so. Let's see.
What, it took him a minute to walk his dog?
Yeah, seriously, it only takes like a minute and a half, and then he's back. So, I don't know what that walk my dog thing was.
So he didn't walk his dog. You don't walk a dog in a minute and a half.
And instead, you use it as...
I am back.
Speed run.
All right. So I hadn't seen this tweet. Do you want me to?
You don't walk a dog in a minute and a half. So he wasn't walking his dog
right now.
What was that?
Would you like to rip Marcus a new one for this right now, right here and right now?
Get him on the call, you mean?
If you want.
I don't really give a shit.
Okay.
Hold on. What the fuck is this? Do you want to bring Marcus in here? Do you want to bring Marcus in here so you can rip him a new one? What? That's insane.
Why do you want to make this a spectacle, Southpaw?
This is the problem with people like Southpaw. They see everything they see everything as like sort of like this internet debate me bro way, where it's like all Wolf brought up is, hey, you are a fan of and retweeted, and you seem to be engaging with this guy who had a very bad faith interpretation of me, and you refused to defend me, even though you know what he is accusing me of is no longer true, and it's stuff that I no longer stand by. And Southpaw's response to that is, hey, do you want to bring him into a call right now so you can
So I can film it for WorldStar?
Yeah, so you can tear him a new one. It would be like, honestly, it'd be like me and you having a conversation, and you brought up, yeah, I don't like the way that you're like friends with this one person who isn't really like, that doesn't like me very much. Well, how about should I call him right now and tell him to come over?
Yeah, give me the old 1-2.
Yeah, should I tell him to come over right now so you can like scream in his face? Should I just scream in this person's face while I'm here?
I think it's like shitty to bring up something that you'd said in the past that you don't stand by anymore. I think it's shitty for people to do that in general. I hadn't seen this tweet. I had seen other tweets. I hadn't seen this one. But like,
I mean, I honestly can't say that I believe you.
Aww.
Because you've lied before. You've lied several times.
Oh, yes, Wolf. Yes.
And I know that you're like the most terminally online person that I've ever met. So I don't really think I believe you. I think you're actually just that spiteful.
Yes.
Oh my god, Wolf, I actually
you
think...
still haven't apologized for the things that you said behind my back. You haven't even... I find it hilarious You said something. Let me find it. Something to the effect of.
It's gonna be fun.
Fuck. What was it?
Gaslighting?
That's what you like. No, not the
Shut up.
gaslighting thing.
Shut up, Southpaw.
You went on about how like you were baffled by the idea that I said that I wasn't sure if we were ever really friends. But you have never once owned up to the fact that in private on your Discord you said something almost verbatim to the effect of I'm not sure I want to be friends with these people anymore. Something that we alluded
With these
to in
people.
that call we had with you 4 months ago.
He means black
And
people.
Also, that call we had with you 4 months ago, that was probably recorded, but why hasn't that been leaked at all? Like, there's no
Because it
details
ma-
from that from Southpaw.
Probably because it makes him seem even worse than this one.
Yeah, I don't know how this could possibly be seen in a good light.
I imagine it's probably to do with the fact. Well, we know that that Southpaw didn't leak this.
No, Southpaw and SK intended to leak it.
I think they intended to heavily edit this, because this does not paint Wolf as unreasonable. It not even in the most uncharitable interpretations. This makes Southpaw come across as very acquiescent.
I don't know what that word means.
So he's a beta basically.
Oh, okay.
Wolf is very much controlling the conversation. He's ignoring almost every point that Southpaw brings up. When Southpaw tries to avoid a topic by bringing up a new one, Wolf just brings up another one again. He's not engaging Southpaw on his own terms, or at least if he is, he's doing it rarely. So this conversation doesn't paint Southpaw in a good light, and I can only imagine that if Southpaw does even worse when he is against multiple people. And when Wolf talks about the point that we all had, that implies that there are more people. So it's more than likely it's Fringy, Rags, Wolf, Southpaw, because these are maybe not Rags. If we're just talking about the people that Southpaw has directly affected. Either way, there's at least 4 people in the call. 3 people against Southpaw, and I can imagine that the entire time Southpaw is being apologetic, pathetically so, because
he did seem rather apologetic in some of the DMs to Mahler.
Well, yeah, because he's dishonest and cowardly to people's faces, and you can see how apologetic he's being and how unconfrontationless he is being in this in this one-on-one conversation with Wolf. Can you imagine him against 2 other people?
Be a nightmare
for him, certainly. I don't think it will see the light of day because it probably paints Southpaw in the most uncharitable light possible.
Yeah,
because we know he's not honest. So he's like the entire time he's probably just gonna be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I did. I didn't know why I did that. I was just upset."
Oh, my memory was foggy. Corrupted memory card.
Just didn't even try to apologize for or deny.
Well, he doesn't deny it right now, so that's true.
Knowledge happened.
I think that's what Southpaw was going to do. He was just going to not acknowledge it ever happened. He's not even doing it now. He's
not saying anything.
Yeah,
he's doing. He does this all the time.
You got mad because we didn't like your show.
It wasn't about just not liking the show. I mean, there's more to it than that. But
you say that, but that really is what it comes down to.
Okay, you can let yourself believe that as much as you like.
Oh, you've given up, Southpaw.
And again, I don't want to be friends with these guys anymore. Serious.
You're right where he's just totally defeated. But
well,
if it was...
When you say, I guess you can have that kind of opinion, that's when you've given up in the conversation. That's when you don't want to do this anymore.
So, if it was about more than just they didn't like terriers, he should be able to come up with evidence. Like, actually, no. Like, this is... Like, I said this. or this is why. This is why I left. This is the conversation that we had. This is what I brought up to you. This is the narrative. This goes back to the narrative. This goes back to when we started to talk about the narrative and the fact that Southpaw didn't come up with a narrative. Because the narrative makes him look like a fucking weakling. Because basically, EFAP didn't like this show, and it makes me... well, that's basically it.
It makes me mad.
I mean, not that any of us care now. We kind of just want to be left alone, which you are just, for some reason, adamant about not doing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna defend yourself, Southpaw?
Oh no, because it's true. You can't.
Oh, so quiet.
Nothing?
I mean, I've got nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's given up. That is unbelievable. Like, what was that? Like a 15-second silence? Huh? Sigh. Do you have anything? I've got nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the man you want to back. This is the strong, sacred cow slayer. This is the guy who's like an internet warrior. Like, just beating people into the pulp like that. Just beating people left and right.
That silence there said a lot. Where Southpaw effectively admits that he isn't going to leave them alone. That he is going to continue this retarded jihad.
This crusade.
And you could tell, because this happened all on the 3rd, and it's happened in March, and it's now October, and it's still going on. Southpaw is just, like Will said, terminally online. He can't let anything go, and he's just a gigantic fucking list. So he's this spiteful, vindictive little shit who's also a coward. I'm pretty sure the EFAP people would agree in saying that they should never, ever, ever have contacted him in the first place. They should just ignore him. Oh no, not just ignore him, but just mock him. Just keep mocking him. Just keep making fun of him. Like, just honestly, they should just keep posting clips of this conversation between Wolf and Southpaw, because Wolf murders him. Wolf just tears his intestines out. This is the man who... This is the sacred cow slaughterer. He's the butcher of your sacred cows. This man, yeah? That man is the sacred cow slaughterer.
How loud do you have to sigh for it to be picked up on the mic like that?
That man was silent for 20 seconds, and his only response to the statement of "you're just not going to leave us alone" is a big fat sigh, and then just
I don't know.
This is your hero. This is your guy. This is the person. This is the fucking person that you're hitching your wagon to. This is the person that you think is anything other than a pathetic, terminally online loser.
You don't want to defend this behavior.
You don't even associate with this person. And Wolf has decimated his points and gotten to, and accurately identified Southpaw's vindictive, malicious nature. And Southpaw has been rendered open. He is totally and utterly vulnerable and on his back like a fucking turtle in front of Wolf. And what's his response? I got nothing.
Unbelievable.
That's the best that this man can come up with, is just, I got nothing.
I mean, I've got nothing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
that's
made
about what I figured.
Oh, he sounds so disappointed.
Wolf was on top form in
It
this
also
entire
kind of
conversation.
part of the part of not being able to believe you anymore. Part of that comes down to you got all teary-eyed and sad voice in that call. Whenever we tried
Told
to
you.
say,
I want to see
or
this
rather
call.
When Mahler tried to say, since me and Rags were for some reason supposed to take a vow of silence in that call.
See, told you.
I forgot about this point, by the way. You were right,
See,
Fungus. You were totally right. And you haven't even seen this. That's the best part.
This is the first time I've seen this. Yeah, I told you.
On the nail.
Yeah, that's the reason why they don't post. They haven't posted, because it makes Southpaw look like an even more pathetic loser, and also it would be weird. People would actually would be commenting on it if they posted it and Rags was in a call and Wolf was in a call and neither of them said anything, because they're pretty much well known for just constantly running their mouths. So that's exactly why they will never release that.
But we gotta take like a minute of silence for 9/11 during this call with Southpaw.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, 9/11.
Rest in peace, 9/11. Should laugh. It was a national. Don't laugh. It was a national tragedy. Clearly, Southpaw wouldn't let Wolf and Rags speak, or didn't want them to speak. He wanted more to speak, only more to speak, because this is ironically, this has happened to critics of EFAP. They've tried this before, where they only want Mauler to speak, because Mauler's the nice one. Because Wolf and Rags especially would eviscerate him.
That's what Jack Shane wanted, or at least he wanted Maul and Wolf and not Rags, from what I remember.
Oh, the same Jack Saint that is sending notifications to this guy?
The rats are scheming with each other.
You got all teary-eyed and were like on the verge of tears, or at least it sounded like it. You were pretty good at acting, at least.
Oh, if Southpaw has an ounce of intelligence, he would delete that recording.
Probably just delete his entire profile after this whole affair.
He should delete that recording, especially because there's no possible way he comes across as anything other than a sniveling shit.
The reason we know that you aren't, that you were not sorry in there, is because I brought up the pronunciation of Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi or whatever the hell it is, and then you immediately flipped. You just had this moment where you seemed to almost forget the subject of the call, and the three of us just had to sit there while you and your therapist talked about Shang-Chi, as though that was even relevant to the conversation. And then once Molly drew you back, you were...
Okay, so it was not... classic. It sounds like it was Mauler, Wolf, Rags, Southpaw, and Southpaw on somebody on Southpaw's side.
Didn't you say Freeney?
No, he said the three of us had to sit there and listen to you as you and your therapist talked about Shang-Chi.
Oh, and that's probably Evan Monroe.
Southpaw did the classic thing of, I will have this debate with you so long as Rags or Mauler doesn't get involved. Oh, sorry, Rags or Wolf doesn't get involved. They do the debate, then he brings a second person in to have this debate with Mauler. And Rags and Wolf can't get involved because they agreed not to, so that's classic bad faith. He's attempting to overwhelm Mauler, and if Rags or Wolf reply, he will then claim Rags and Wolf had this discussion in bad faith because, like, well, you agreed you wouldn't say anything. You agreed that you wouldn't say anything, even though he started this in bad faith. That's insane.
It is psychotic, one would say.
That's...
Careful to put on your sad voice again.
You gonna deny it?
Yeah, look, listen to the silence. He can't come back. He can't respond to any of this because
does it occur to you why we don't really believe you when you say you're sorry, when you don't take down the tweets that were pretty not kind to them? When you drag this out for 4 months after all the rest of us are doing everything to just not engage. We had a 2-hour almost conversation over whether or not Mahler should actually get into a call with you from those messages you sent him the other day.
Jesus.
Just debating whether it was a good idea or not.
Why did it take you that long? Seriously. 2 hours? To debate whether or not talking to Southpaw?
Yeah, it should be a 3-second conversation.
2 minutes.
Where you say, no, fuck off.
Because we know what happened the last time, and you just seem to ignore all of it.
Cool.
Oh!
Wow.
And then he leaves. And remember, Fungus, I was trying to be diplomatic. You were trying to be diplomatic, and you left the call like without provocation. Also, keep in mind, Southpaw said he wanted to have the last word. He wanted to, like, with no warning, leave so he could have the last word like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it could be like, you just got owned. Cool guys don't look at explosions. You know?
I just, oh, cool, okay. And then he leaves, and then, Jesus Christ, what a fucking loser. I might have found a wolf after that.
You've turned around completely.
I have. He just fucking eviscerated that fucking loser.
Yeah. Southpaw didn't resolve this drama himself. He is such a beta that he sent this to SK, a much younger man than him. Keep in mind.
19 at this time.
Yeah, Southpaw is like, what, 26, 27? He's around that age. And then SK, like, writes out these fucking... Like, look at this. We're not gonna go through all of these because it's pointless. First of all, this is like SK arguing on behalf of Southpaw. And he's like writing to Mahler, so Mahler can argue on behalf of Wolf. What's the point of that? Like, why not talk to each other directly, or just don't talk to each other at all? That just sounds like you're gonna talk past each other, right, Fungus? You there? Hello?
He doesn't really want
Sorry.
Mahler to actually really respond. The whole point of starting it's just a way to get Mahler engaged. That's all it is.
Yeah, and Mahler should not engage. The fact that he did is stupid. He shouldn't. And he apologizes for, like, I'm sorry, I might have gaslit unintentionally. Like, seriously, Mahler? You gave these guys an inch, and then they took a mile. Yeah, and remember, even after all of this, even after this apology, even after this drama was quote-unquote resolved, it's all being leaked again. Just so Southpaw can own his 5 haters on Reddit. Also, can I point out, like, I've mentioned it to you before, but my favorite part of this of SK's counters. Wolf claims he knows for a fact that Southpaw was pretending to be sad in his final call with you because there was a brief moment where Southpaw lightened up about how Shang-Chi is pronounced. Not sure if Wolf understands this, but if a serious discussion is being had and there's a brief moment of levity that distracts from the situation, it makes sense to lighten up temporarily until they go back on topic. Here is an example in the form of a tweet about how Southpaw was joking about the DCEU right after his dog died. That's
just autistic.
That is the fucking gayest argument I've ever heard in my life. Seriously. It's also anecdotal as fuck.
I mean, it's laughable that it's just he's like SK is literally arguing. No, there I was using the incorrect definition of literal.
It just rolls off the tongue. That's the problem.
It does. There is SK using the figurative same justification as to why people love the Marvel wave, the Marvel humor, the Marvel quipping humor during serious scenes. It's actually meant to create a moment of levity and improve everybody's mood. It's a conversation about how Southpaw accused Fringy and Mauler of being rape apologists. There's no need for levity. That's an inappropriate time for levity. You dumb bastard.
Southpaw is like the MCU.
Can you imagine Southpaw during his father's funeral? And the fucking priest is just like, you know, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And then Southpaw's just like, it's pronounced Shan-Shi.
And then everybody starts laughing.
And then everybody starts laughing because that's just peak Marvel humor. And then the priest is just like, yeah, that's classic Marvel humor. I understand the levity that you brought up in that situation, but just the fact that it's SK, just like, here's an example of how this humor that you heard, that you Mauler heard, you listened to Southpaw act in this way. This is how you were there. You were present during Southpaw's quote unquote humor, and I shall now present you with a tweet about how what you heard was wrong.
And again, this is a second-hand account about a cult that we'll never hear. So
yeah, so this is just another example of how terminally on SK is and Southpaw are, where they think that tweets are evidence of real life. See, Southpaw posted this tweet the day his dog died. I don't think that's an example of Southpaw trying to alleviate humor. I think that's just an example of Southpaw being terminally online and being unable to not be online.
yeah, and he also said, "I'm going on offline indefinitely" after his puppy was put down. And then a few hours later, oh, the DCEU is haunting me. And we made fun of him for that at that time.
Oh yeah.
And people lost their minds. Like, why are you making fun of Southpaw for his dog dying? It's like, you don't get it. Southpaw said he was going offline indefinitely. He wasn't. He set up the joke, and we made the punchline, okay? Doesn't matter if it's like a sensitive topic. He's posting about it. He should be able to handle it. You gotta have like some thick skin about this, okay? If you're sharing details about your private life, you're just gonna have to like expect people to make jokes about it. That's part of being that's part of having an online status.
Well, yeah, because the simple fact of the matter is that you can't stop them from making these jokes about these crass topics, these topics that are painful for you.
Especially not to people you don't know at all.
Exactly, you can't police the people's humor, especially when you don't actually. When you can't physically interact with them, and two, when they don't respect you.
Yeah, respect is earned. Okay.
So if people don't like you and they don't respect you, then why the hell would they treat you with respect?
Like if I started saying like, oh, my ex, she abused me, she hit me. Like if I just started saying that out of nowhere, on a public platform with people who very much do hate me, they probably won't make fun of it.
Like I haven't revealed a traumatic event in my life. If such an event has ever happened or ever will happen.
And why would you? Because if it's traumatic, like hearing about it would trigger you, right?
Yeah. So why would I tell people on the internet who don't like who don't know me? If they don't know me, they can't respect me. Like just don't rely on people to be decent and kind, because they won't be. Like the decent and kind people will ignore you posting about your dead dad or your dead dog, because they won't care. They'll just ignore the post.
Never talk about your personal life ever.
Yeah. But I want my friends. But my friends, they send me like encouraging messages.
Then write to them privately.
Yeah, write to them privately, or have some way to interact with them privately. Because if you only interact with these people through like tweets that you make and the tweets, and they respond via tweets, then they're not your fucking friends. They're more like fucking schizophrenic voices.
No, they're what's the word for it? They're back patters. Oh, there. That's all they are. Like you don't actually talk to the majority of these people who write these like complimentary messages to you, like, oh, it's gonna be okay. I'm glad to hear that, and then there's like a little heart.
Yeah, and then nothing.
That means nothing.
I mean, at least you and I, we know we're not friends. We're just colleagues.
Yeah, we hate each other.
It's because we're both men, and men shouldn't show emotions.
We are fueled by our hatred for each other.
So, that's some Dan advice for you. Get a job, you fucking hippie. Stop acting fatherless.
That's the moral of the story. After we've seen the Terriers recording, all of these first-hand accounts from Southpaw, and most importantly, like the Southpaw and Wolf confrontation, that there's no... All of the speculation about this is gone. It's pretty set in stone. That Southpaw is just a dishonest piece of shit.
He's just a pussy. He's a beta male pussy.
Yeah.
And what's funniest to me is that he's a beta male pussy over the internet, where it's so easy to be an alpha, or at least act like one, because there's not the threat of physical confrontation. So he can't even when there's no threat of physical assault or physical alteration between him and Wolf, he's still pathetically subservient to submissive to him in this conversation. So basically what I'm saying is that Wolf should hunt him down and kill him.
In real life?
In real life.
In Metro Atlanta at your house?
Is that why I'm obsessed with you? I think about you in my sleep.
I see you in
when
my
I wake
dreams,
up-
Southpaw.
Yeah, when I wake up in the morning, I chant your name to myself as I do 5 deadlifts.
Yeah, so like in the past few
Last-
weeks, like going through like all of the screenshots of Southpaw, I've just been Gollum-fied, okay? I keep to myself in the shadows, just scribbling down like notes for like this podcast, right? Everything about Southpaw and his personal life, I'm scribbling it down like on all the walls and on my hands, everywhere I can think of, on every possible like space I can write.
I've been punching the concrete walls of my home to strengthen my knuckles. I've been holding my hands over the stove, over the flame of the stove, to deaden the nerves there, so I don't feel anything in my hands.
So descriptive.
I have filled a bag with weights, which I assume approximates your general body weight, so I drag it 100 meters across around my garden.
I've shaved off all of my hair, so I'm bald again.
I've shaved off every single
I've shaved off my eyebrows, so I look crazy.
Try